Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Umineko Chapter 4. We are currently experiencing what in Higurashi was the flashback arc, and this time we're flashing forward, perhaps, to a future we may not like, a future where all of our characters are dead and there is only their abandoned young daughter who's now aged up, left alive. In Higurashi, this was quite a boring arc. I wasn't a big fan of it. And the reason I wasn't a big fan of it was because we didn't really learn anything new. It was basically an entire chapter to introduce Akasaka, who didn't show up or do anything in the next two arcs, didn't do anything in the arc following that, and then finally showed up to play superhero, when honestly he didn't really need an entire arc's introduction. It was kind of annoying to play through all that, but this is not Higurashi, and I'd like to think that so far, this arc has felt far more productive than that arc did in Higurashi. We are flashing forward, and even though this may not be a future that comes to pass once we've finished the entire series, it's at least new and interesting, and isn't something we've heard all the relevant or interesting details about. I'm experiencing something, it doesn't feel like a waste. It's just entertaining. It's just entertaining, and we're like, yeah, the story in universe may not come to pass, but it might be a future we don't want to have happen in the first place, so it doesn't feel like a waste of time exploring it. It's like, this is a bad thing. This person's going back to the past to try and fix this, or at least that's kind of the concept. They're freeing their ancestors, family. Let's go with family from a dark reality, so that they're hopefully present in the future and make her life a little bit better, which seems like a good motive. And we may not need to explore this future that much, but I think if we spent the arc here, it would at least be entertaining, because it's not something we knew everything about, all the exciting bits about, which was like one of my issues with the prequel arc in Higurashi, because I felt like I knew all the important stuff already, and really I did. There was some scenes that we didn't know, and it was basically just an introduction of one character. This character has already received their introduction. In fact, they received it at the end of Chapter 3. So this is just a dedicated character arc, which I'm not sure they needed, but hey, at least the story's okay. Feels a little bit formulaic, though, if you ask me, to forcibly shove a entire out-of-timeline arc in at the exact same place you did in your previous novel. And it wasn't needed in the previous novel. I'm not sure this is needed either here, but if they do a lot more with this, I think it could be okay. And even if they don't, I think it's still at least entertaining, because it doesn't feel like I'm retreading a lot of ground I've already seen. Whereas in the prequel arc, I feel like I was retreading ground. This time, there's nothing to retread, really. Only a little bit, honestly, and that is just like, only a little bit is sort of retread, and that's just because that would be the natural process of investigating what happened in that time period, right? Alright. Oh, let's dive in. I was able to hear Aunt Ava's say from Okanogi-san. Next up is the witches' say. Why don't I listen to Beatrice's say? The witches say, Ava's say, and I already have my own opinion. Fair enough. Time to see what the witch thinks actually happened on the island so many years ago. I'm not sure that the clock time matters, but apparently it's 2:50. I wasn't aware we were on a strict timer. So the gimmick of showing the time doesn't quite work as well here, as we're not as constrained. Oh! We're bouncing back to the first day. Interesting. I was expecting this to actually be like a full-on prologue arc. Looks like I got caught. 3 months left to live.
南條先生がそうおっしゃったのは去年の話よ。
Just last year when you said that, right, Dr. Nanjo?
私はその時の健康状態から総合的に判断してお話ししているだけです。
10 before 3? 10 to 3? Alright, I only spoke what I could comprehensively determine from his physical condition at that time. Yeah, but you did say 3 months. We've been here
その
before.
結果 今年も
I
たま
was
たま
I was totally down for the prologue arc, and they totally rug pulled me. Well, that was quite the scam of an introduction, I guess. All right. As a result, this year it just so too happens.
年を越せるかも怪しいってことになってる親父殿は、
So even
今
though
も
it's
生き健康でオカルト研究に没頭されてるというわけだ。
even though it's doubtful whether Dad will last until the end of the year, he's still totally focused on his occult research.
それでも余命3ヶ月ってわけかい、先生。
And you still say he has 3 months left, Doctor?
ですから金蔵さんの
Like I said, Kinzo-san's
敬愛する親父殿がまだお元気でおられるなら素晴らしいことじゃないか。
Yeah, shouldn't you be happy our respective fathers still in high spirits?
親孝行なお前たちは親父殿に挨拶がしたくて仕方がない。
Out of a sense of parental respect, each of you is so eager to greet father. Not so sure about that one.
なので会ってもらえないので納得がいかないと。そういうわけだ。
I can see how upset you are. He's unwilling to meet with you.
日も沈まぬうちから遺産分配の川山用を始める皆さんのことを思えば、
Considering everyone started aiming for the inheritance while the sun is still in the sky, that's an interesting way to phrase
お
it.
父様の会いたくないという気持ちも
I
分
can
かろうとい
understand
う
why
もので
father
す。
wouldn't want to see you. I don't even disagree with her phrasing. I just think it's an interesting way to say it. Oh, we've got it wrong? Yo, what's up, my dude?
ただ私たちはその
We just,
親父とて不死身じゃねえ。いつかは死ぬさ。
Dad isn't immortal. He'll die someday.
死ねと言ってるんじゃない。いつかは死ぬと言ってるだけさ。
We aren't telling him to die. We're just saying he'll die sooner or later.
それに備えての話し合いだってだけの話じゃねえか。
We're just talking together about how to prepare for that.
それが不敬だと言っているのです。
And this is precisely what is so disrespectful.
よしなさい。また君の頭痛に触る。
You'll make your headache worse, poor Natsuhi. I was told Natsuhi, who had risen from her chair in agitation, to sit down. Trying to smooth over the atmosphere, which had suddenly become filled with suspicion, Hideyoshi put on a forced smile and motioned for everyone to calm down.
夏日さん、誤解せんといてや。
Natsuhi, don't misunderstand.
立つ鳥後を濁さずっちゅうことわざがあるやろ。
The people say you should always clean up after yourself, right?
これは
Right?
その見送る側の話や。
We're just talking about seeing him off.
やがては必ず旅立つお父さんをきれいに見送るための相談なんやで。
We're discussing this so we can see Father off neatly when he takes off on the journey he's eventually going to make. Hmm.
さすが秀吉さんだ。
It's just like you,
同じ
Hideyoshi.
話をするにしても実に知性的だ。
Even though you're saying the exact same thing, you make it sound so intellectual. That's Hideyoshi, though, who makes it sound better, more palatable, but he says the same stuff.
そうよ。
That's right.
兄さんと違ってね。
Unlike you, Nissan.
よせない。
But it,
話が進まねえ。
we aren't getting anywhere.
それでだな、兄貴。
Like we were saying, Aniki,
俺たちは遺産の話云々は抜きにしてもだ。
forget all this about the
たと
inheritance.
え親父に殴られても構わね
I don't even care if Dad hits us.
え。早い話が、親父に直接会って挨拶がしてんだ。
To make a long story short, we want to meet Dad directly and say hello,
親父が嫌だと言ってもだ。
even if he says he doesn't want to.
書斎に閉じこもってるなら
If、he's locked up in his
源氏
study,
さんに鍵を借りてでもな。
we don't care if we have to borrow a key from Genji-san.
な、ローズ。
Right, Rosa?
まあその
No,
無
it's
理
not
や
like
り
we're
ってわけじゃないけれど、
forcing you.
だって
It's just
かなり長い間私たちはお父様にご
we
挨
haven't
拶
said
して
hello
い
to
ない。
father in such a long time.
余命わずかだというならもう二度と会えなくなる可能性だってある。
He's right, right? If his remaining life is really short, there's a chance we might never be able to see him again.
今日がお父様と言葉が交わせるかもしれない最後の機会だし、
Today might be our final opportunity to exchange words with father.
そうそう、ローザの言う通りよ。
Just as Rosa said.
余命3ヶ月ってことは、いつ亡くなってもおかしくないってことなのよ。
If he only has 3 months left, it would be odd, wouldn't be odd for him to pass away any time now, right?
それなのに私たちに最後のお話をする権利さえないというの？
Are you saying despite that we don't even have the right to talk to him with one last
そ
time?
れはいくらなんでもあんまりな話じゃないのかしら？
Regardless of circumstances, isn't that a little bit much?
あなたたちのしたい話というのが本当に挨拶なら、お父様も喜んでお会いになられるでしょう。
If greeting father were truly what we wish to do, I'm sure he'd happily allow you to meet with him.
しかしお父様は、皆さんがどのような不敬な話に及んでいるか、
But father-
すでに聞き及んでおいでです。
Father has already heard about the disrespectful topic you hope to
お
raise.
父様でなくとも、会いたい気持ちになるわけがない。
No one would want to meet with you under those
お父
conditions.
様がお会いになられないのは他でもない。皆さん自身のせいではありませんか？
The reason you can't meet with father is because of your own doing and nothing else, is it not? I mean, they just arrived at the island. My question would be how on earth he would have come to a random conclusion like that. But, whatever.
まったくだな。
Exactly.
どうして親父殿がお前たちの顔を見るのも嫌か。自分の胸に手を当てずともわかるのではないか
You
ね。
shouldn't have to rack your brains to
親
understand
父
why
殿
father
は
would
諸
wish to see
君
you
らの
faces.
逼迫している経済状況もすべてお見通しだ。
Father has seen through all of your tight financial situations.
それ何の話よ？
Oh, what are you talking about?
兄さんが何の話をしてるのかさっぱりだわ。
I don't have a clue what you're talking about, Nii-san.
私が諸君らの内情を知らないとでも思っているのかね。
Did you think I didn't know about the state you're in? I assume this is post-first dinner this time? Abe and the rest realized he'd seen through their current lack of funds, and alternating between bluffing and turning to the point at hand and arguing back, they repeatedly pressured Kraus to let them meet with Kinzo. The sweet smell of the black tea Rosa had gone out of her way to buy had been completely wasted. The only thing she was glad about now was that the children weren't here for this. The fact they'd gone to play at the beach right after lunch had been their only salvation. Ah, it's between lunch and dinner. Ava made as though to tackle Kraus, and Hideyoshi and Kyrie cut between them, trying to calm both sides. Then Kyrie took a deep breath and spoke.
ごめんなさいね、クラウス兄さん。
Sorry, Kraus.
部外者だけれど、一言いいかしら。
I know I'm an outsider, but I wonder if you'd let me say one thing. Also, was Kyrie not unaware of the financial difficulties Rudolph was in all the previous arcs? I know she's stuck in the talks, but I'm pretty sure she's unaware of them at this
提
point.
案があるの。
I have a proposition.
なんだね、キリエさん。
What is it, Kyrie-san?
まず、
Hello, hello.
うちの人も含めてなんだけれど、
First, and this includes my husband as
私
well.
たちは長年、お父さんと一緒に暮らして、そのお世話をしてきたクラウス兄さんの苦労をあまりにも軽んじているわ。
For many years, we've belittled the efforts you've made by living with father and taking care of him.
そうでしょ？
Isn't that right?
そりゃまあ、
That's well.
俺たちは外に出て気楽でいいが、何十年もおもりをしてきた兄貴は、そりゃ苦労はしたろうな。
We got it easy since we get to go outside, but Aniki's been babysitting Dad for decades now. It must have been a lot of work.
それは認めるが、それが何だってんだ、キリエ。
I'll accept that, but what's your point, Kyrie?
私たちは、クラウス兄さんがお父さんの世話人であることを認めざるを得ないのよ。だっ
Must
てそう
acknowledge
で
that
しょ？
Kraus-san is father's caretaker, isn't that right?
私たちはお父さんをずっと恐れてきて、その世話をクラウス兄さんに押し付けてきたわ。
We always feared father and pushed the task of caring for him onto Kraus-san.
その苦労は誰もが認めるはず。
Everyone should acknowledge his efforts.
ですよね、
Isn't that right?
エヴァ姉さん。
Eva-ne-san?
だからそれが何？
And so what?
兄さんがお父様の世話に？
Nii-san is
あ
father's
ん
caretaker?
た、部外者のくせに勝手なこと決めないでよ。
Don't decide things on your own, outsider.
まあ
Calm down, calm down.
キリエさん、あんた何の話をしてるんだ？
What are you talking about?
キリエ、続けてくれ。
Please continue.
私たちはクラウス兄さんと夏日姉さんにもっと感謝すべきなのよ。
We should be more grateful towards Kraus-Nissan and
いつもお
Natsuhine-san.
父さんの世話をしてくれてありがとうって。
We should thank them for always taking care of father.
私たちにその感謝の気持ちがないからこんな不毛なすれ違いになるの。
It's our lack of gratitude that's to blame for these wasteful conflicts we keep having.
そうでしょクラウス兄さん。
Isn't that right, Kraus-Nissan?
ほう、これは驚いたね。実の兄弟たちにも顧みられなかった私たちの苦労が。
I didn't think you, Kirie-san, would be able to understand our
まさか
efforts.
キリエさんに理解してもらえるとは思わなかったよ。
Something even my true siblings have not stopped to consider.
後宮家当主跡継ぎと
We've
し
read
て
this.
当
We've
然の
read
務め
this.
です。
We've read this exact discussion like 4 times now. 3-4 times now. I know it was in the first arc. We might have skipped over it once. I think we skipped over. We might have skipped over it once, maybe. But it feels very familiar. So there's not really like too much commentary to add to a conversation we've had before. It's a natural duty for the successor to the Ishiromiya family headship.
そうね。
That's
当
right.
主跡継ぎとしての責任よね。
It's your responsibility as successor of the headship,
お
isn't
父
it?
様を世話しているからこそ当主跡継ぎとして私たちは認めざるを得ない。
It's because you take care of father, we must acknowledge you as successor.
あんた、何を勝手に話を進めてんのよ。
Why you bring this up by yourself? Calm down,
あんた
Ava.
部外者の分際で。
You're just an outsider.
待て、姉貴。
Wait, Aniki?
そうだね。
That's right.
キリエの言う通りだ。
It says Kyrie
親
says,
父の世話をしているからこそ兄貴は跡継ぎなんだ。
because you take care of dad, you're the successor, Aniki.
お前の言う通りだ。
As you said. Oh. Rosa noticed, and then Ava did. Ava's barking demeanor towards Kyrie for advancing the discussion on her own disappeared in a flash, and she instead stared at Kraus and Natsuhi. Natsuhi couldn't understand that sudden change and was slightly flustered.
クラウス兄さん、
Kraus
ほん
Nisa,
のいくつかの条件さえ飲んでくれれば
if you'll accept just a few
私
conditions,
たちはお父さんが亡くなるまで二度と会わせろとは言わないわ。
won't ask you to let us meet father again until he dies.
もちろん死に目に会わせろとも言わない。
Of course, we won't demand to be present at
な
his
んなら
deathbed.
お葬式にさえ欠席してもいいわ。
We wouldn't even mind being absent at the funeral.
ほう、
Oh,
何の話やら。
where are you going with this?
だが、一応は聞こうじゃないか。
I may as well listen for now.
その条件を言ってみたまえ。
Let's hear your terms.
一つ、当主跡継ぎとは現当主後宮金蔵の世話人を指す。
The term successor to the headship refers to the caretaker of the current head Ushiromiya Kinzo.
それから
And then? Yeah?
一つ、世話人の責務は後宮金蔵の終生の世話をすること。
The duty of the caretaker is to look after Ushiromiya Kinzo for the rest of his
早い
life.
話が最後を見とるまでが仕事ってことね。
To make things simple, the caretaker's job is to care for him until his final moments.
クラウス兄さんには元よりその覚悟はあるから問題はない。
You were prepared to care to do that from the beginning, so that won't cause any problems. Yep,
当然だ。
naturally.
そこまでの条件には何の依存もないね。
I have no objections to either of those terms.
もとより私が実行していることだ。
一つ、
Third,
世話人が万一その監督責任を怠った場合、世話人の権利は剥奪される。
on the off chance the caretaker is neglectful in his responsibilities of supervision, he'll be deprived of his rights as a caretaker. With that sentence, all slack disappeared from Kraus's face. Natsuhi alone was still having trouble figuring out what it meant.
ほう、世話人の監督責任とは
And just what are these?
どんなものかね。
responsibilities of supervision caretaker bears?
お父さんが寿命の限りを健やかに過ごせるよう監督するということよ。
Well, you see, it means supervision so that father can live the rest of his life in the best possible
も
health.
っと詳細に言うわ。
I'll be more detailed than that.
お父さんが自然死以外の理由で死亡した場合、世話人の権利は剥奪され、当主跡継ぎの権利を失う。
In the case that father dies anything other than a natural death, the caretaker will be deprived of his rights as a caretaker. And the status as successor of the headship will be lost. Sure. It follows. Okay.
その際の当主跡継ぎには、次の序列であるエヴァ姉さんを選ぶこと。
That happens. The next highest in rank, Eva Nason, will be selected as successor.
なんですって？
What did you say?
そんなよまいごと、よくもシャーシャーと。
You shamelessly speak such nonsense.
ほうほう。
Oh.
これは世話人は責任重大だ。
The caretaker certainly has a heavy responsibility.
しかし人の死因はあまたある。
But people can die in many
例
ways.
えば老衰した老人が食事を喉に詰まらせて亡くなることもあるだろう。
For example, senile old people sometimes die when food gets caught in their throats.
本来ならそれもまた講義の意味での老死となるに違いない。
Normally, this is called death by old age in its broadest sense.
しかしその論法でいくとこれは自己死になり私は監督責任を負わされることになる。
But with your argument, that becomes a death by accident, and I bear the responsibility of
これは
supervision.
私にとって不当に不利な話だ。
This is unjustly disadvantageous to me.
そんなへりくつをつけるつもりは毛頭ないの。
I have no intention of forcing such an unfair agreement on
私
you.
が想定しているのは、世話人がしっかり世話をして見張っていれば未然に防げた程度のレベル。
I'm referring to the kind of thing that caretakers could have prevented beforehand by taking good care of and keeping their eyes on father.
食事を口に運ぶところまでは世話人の仕事でしょうけれど、飲み込むことに関してはさすがに責任外。
It may be the caretaker's job to carry food to father's mouth, but whether he swallows it or not is clearly outside the caretaker's responsibility.
クラウス兄さんのケースでは、私は全く問題にしないわ。
I would have absolutely no problem with the example you raised, Kraus-Nissan.
ほう。
Okay.
ならば桐江さんが想定する世話人が過失を問われるケースとはどのようなものなの
What
か。
kind of case are you referring to that might cause the caretaker to be blamed for making a blunder?
例えば、
Well, for example,
失踪よ。
if he were to disappear.
ほう。
Oh.
お父さんは、今はお心もしっかりしているようだけれど、
It seems right now father is in firm control of
いつ
himself.
まともな思考や判断力が失われたっ
The
て不
dementia
思議
might
じゃな
begin
い
to。set in.
目を離した隙に徘徊して何か事故を起こしたり、
You might wander around when you aren't looking and get into some kind of
あ
accident.
るいはふらりと森に迷い込んでそのまま行方不明になってしまうこともあるかもしれないわ。
You might get lost in the forest and go missing.
こういうケースは明らかに世話人の責任じゃないかしら。
Wouldn't this type of case clearly be the responsibility of the caretaker? It might.
お父様はお心も健康でいらっしゃいます。
Father's mind's perfectly healthy.
言うにこと書いて、なんてこと。
There's no need to bring up dementia. Yeah,
お
okay.
父さんがある日突然森の中に入っていくのを見た。
One day, suddenly, I saw father go into the
後を
forest.
追ったけれど姿が見えない。
I chased after him, but I couldn't
警
find him.
察も呼んで探したけれど、その後7年間探しても見つからなくて失踪宣告。
After being unable to find him after 7 whole years, I had him declared legally dead.
それをもって死亡扱いというのは認められないって言いたいの。
My point is, we won't accept it if you use a story like that to treat him as dead.
お父さんが亡くなられた際には必ず検視を行い、
Father passes away, an autopsy will certainly be carried
常
out.
識の範囲内で想定される一般的な老死であることを確認するこ
Okay.
と。
We'll confirm if he died of old age in the most general meaning within the bounds of common sense.
そ
Sure.
れ以外のあらゆる理由によっての死は世話人の責任とすること。
A death of any other cause will be held as the caretaker's responsibility.
ね。
See? Okay.
今日までクラウス兄さんがご苦労なされてきたことの範囲内。
I mean, these are all things you've toiled away at all this time, Kraus Nissan.
おかしな条件でも何でもないでしょ。
There aren't any strange conditions or anything of the sort, right?
バカにしています。屈辱的です。
I'm mocking us disgracefully so.
なぜ主人がこのような恥ずかしめを受けるようなルールを強要されなければならないのか、理解に苦しみます。
I find it hard to imagine why my husband must be coerced into a rule that disgraces him in this way.
私、実は去年から疑ってるわ。
Actually, I've been suspecting it since last year.
いいえ、多分ここにいるみんなもそう。
Or should we say everyone here probably suspects it as
エ
well?
ヴァ姉さんも、秀吉兄さんも、
Eva Nesan and Hideyoshi
ル
Nisan.
ドルフさんも、ローザさんも、
Rudolph-san and Rosa-san too.
みんなずっと疑ってるけど、あまりに恐れ多い想像で口にしなかっただけ。
Everyone suspected it the whole time, but it was so frightening to imagine no one actually said it.
なるほど。お前たちはこう言いたいのかね。
I see, so this is what you're trying to say.
親父殿はもうすでに死んでいて、私がそれを隠しているのだと。
Father is already dead and I've been hiding it?
ああ、そうなんだ。
That's right. No one's seen him in a couple years. And he's only speaking through Kraus. An interesting question.
これは前回のゲームの最後の謎を解く鍵として考えた俺の一つの仮説なんだ。
That's one of the theories I thought of as a key to solve the last mystery in the previous game.
前回最後の
I mean the last
南
bit?
條先生を殺したのは誰かという
The
謎のこと。
mystery of who killed Dr. Nansho?
そうだ。
Right.
確かに魔女は赤で宣言したさ。
The witch said a lot in red.
18人全員の名前を挙げて生死を宣言し、それ以上の人間は存在しないと言い切ってみせた。
She mentioned the names of all 18 people and announced whether they were alive or dead, and then claimed that there were no humans besides them.
だがこの仮説ならその感激を縫える。
But with this theory, I can weave my way through that gap.
なるほど。
I see.
その二つを矛盾させない回答の一つというわけね。
This is one of the answers that doesn't cause those two to contradict.
なるほど。
Makes sense.
俺の言ってる意味がわかるのか。
See what I'm saying?
お前なかなか察しがいいじゃねえか。
Catch on pretty quick.
説明が省けて助かるぜ。
It's that I don't have to explain.
この島に19人目は存在しない。
No 19th person exists on this
にもか
island.
かわらず、未知の新人物 X が混じりう
And
る
yet
から
this trick lets us mix in an unknown new character. We sort of see Kinzo though, that's the problem. But I guess if he dies at the same time another person arrives, then it's not a problem? That might work.
つまり、18名全員の名前と在当者18人が一致しなければいい。
In other words, the names of all 18 people don't necessarily correspond to the 18 people on the island? Maybe. But he's been alive in other routes, so maybe he's just dead some routes? Fair enough.
そういうことさ。魔女は赤で18人の名前を次々に挙げ、生死を宣言した。
The witch mentioned the names of 18 people, one after another, and announced whether they were alive or dead.
さらにその上、島には18人を超える人間はいないとも宣言したわけだ。
And on top of that, she announced there were no other humans other than the 18.
ここには一つの錯
There's
覚
a
があっ
single
た。
illusion in there. The 18 does not necessarily contain the 18 people on the island? Yeah. Well, we see other people interact with Kinzo in non-magical forms. But we can throw out Kinzo's existence if we want to. Especially in Arc 3, where he's not actually seen by anyone else. Right? Nobody sees him, they only see his burnt body in Arc 3. Nobody actually sees or interacts with Kinzo. So it's possible in that arc. It seems slightly less likely, and I think, was it Arc 1? I think it was Arc 1 where Natsuhi interacted with him directly. But for the most part, He's not actually doing too much or even leaving his room, so his death or life is the status of his life is unclear for us for the most part, right? Like we clearly saw him get murdered, but that was by the witch who could have killed him already. There was a single illusion in there. It wasn't guaranteed the names of the 18 names of people were the 18 people on the island. Yep. Okay. That kind of works. That was a good catch, one I didn't see. Alright.
18人の名前をすべて挙げて、その生死を宣言するとき。
When she named off all 18 people and announced who was alive and who was dead.
犯人 X の名を伏せ。代わりにこの島にいない人間の名前を混ぜる。
She had the name of culprit X and instead mixed in someone who wasn't on the island.
そうすれば犯人は島にいるにもかかわらず18人の生死リストからは逃れることができる。
By doing that, even though the culprit was on the island, she was able to leave him out of the list of living or dead people. That kind of works. It works with Kinzo because no one else saw him that arc. Other than the servants who were immediately killed. I think that's a possibility. Alright. We'll see if we encounter Kinzo this arc to dispel that.
混ぜられた人物は在当しないのだから在当者の足し算には加わらない。
The person who was mixed in wasn't actually on the island, so we didn't count towards the number of total people on the island. I was gonna say, people who are dead are definitively dead, right? Like, Beatrice is dead and on the island, based on her backstory, but she's never counted as one of the people on the island, despite the fact that her body's there. Or she effectively isn't an entity. Like 5 years ago or whatever.
よって在当者18人の人数の中に加わりながらも名前が登場しないことが可能。
By this, even though the culprit counted towards the total 18 people on the island, it was possible for his name to not be listed.
2つの赤字宣言はそれぞれが単独なんだから。この仮説は矛盾しないんだ。
Our holy independences theory creates no contradictions.
その犯人の名をごまかすために使う人物名にはいくつかの条件があるわ。
If someone's name was used to hide the existence of the culprit, the name must satisfy several conditions.
まず、在当していないにもかかわらず、私たちが在当していると信じている人物。
First of all, even though the person isn't on the island, they have to be someone we think is on the island.
そうでなくては騙せない。
Otherwise, she couldn't trick us.
そして、その人物は死んでいることが好
And
ま
it's
し
best
い。
the person happens to be
なぜな
dead.
ら、死ほど完璧なアリバイは存在しない。
No alibi is more perfect than death,
あ
I
の時
see.
点での謎は、18人全員が犯行不能であることに立脚しているのだから。
This theory may or may not be true, but it's possible. The bridging sentence, next I explain the situation of all people who exist on the island, was specifically not in red. Yeah, that was an interesting statement, the fact that she removed the red text. Considering that was literally like a fucking essay in red text, and that was like one of the only lines in white. It's possible she's not explaining the existence of everyone on the island. It's also possible that based on the way she's explaining the existence of people on the island, she has to include Beatrice, the body that we know is like on the other end of the island, right? So, if she counts Kinzo as being one of the, like, think of it this way, if the dead servants she sacrificed on night 1 counts as a person on the island, then would not Beatrice herself, her body, her, like, corporeal form, the homunculus, whatever we think it is, count as a dead person on the island? And possibly the original Beatrice? Is the body still on the island after it's decomposed? Possibly buried, possibly washed away. But maybe she doesn't know that. Maybe neither of us know that. Maybe the original Beatrice, the previous one, maybe her body's entombed somewhere on the island as well. That's possible, right? The one that killed herself, she might be on the island. Buried, because she didn't get her body. She didn't kill herself on a shore. Maybe, right? Yeah, at that point, the mystery was based on the fact the crime was impossible for all 18 people.
そんなところ？
Is it something like that? Yeah.
ああ、そうさ。
Since the crime's impossible for everyone, there has to be a mystery person.
そしてその人物が
That person
ま
was
さに
grandfather.
今キリエさんが言わんとしていることはただ一つ。
Right now, there's only one thing Kyrie can be about to
実
say.
は部屋に閉じこもってて誰にも会わないと言っていることになっているが、
We thought grandfather locked up in his study saying he didn't want to meet anyone.
じい様はすでに死んでいて、
But there's a possibility he's already dead already.
クラウスおじさんがそれを生きてると嘘をついてる可能性があるってことなんだ。
Uncle Kraus might be lying when he claims grandfather's alive. That's right. Grandfather was closed up in his room the whole time. No one saw his face. Maybe he was already dead. Uncle Kraus and the others were conspiring together trying to trick everyone. All that said about the previous mystery, Beatrice did say there was only 18 people on the island. And Beatrice doesn't count because she's fucking dead, right? And she said that in red text. I don't know why she had to explain that her body was there, though. That was like a weird choice.
金蔵が死ねば遺産分配が発生する。
If Kinzo dies, the distribution of the inheritance
し
occurs.
かし、金蔵が死ななければ、
However, if Kinzo doesn't die, no.
金蔵が死んでも、それを告知しなければ、遺産分配は発生しない。
It isn't announced, the distribution of the inheritance won't take place.
つまりクラウスおじさんはじい様の財産をすべて独占できる。
In other words, Uncle Kraus has all of grandfather's wealth to himself. It's
そ
possible.
うさ、動機は十分なんだ。
Right, he's got more than enough motive. Maybe a 19th person X doesn't really exist on the island. But a person X existed. And that person was the 18th person.
つまりこの島の本来の人数は18人じゃなく17人だったんだ。
In other words, there were originally 17 people on the island, not 18.
そこに未知の人物 X が隠れ潜んでいて犯行を行ったんだ。
An unknown person X snuck in and committed the crime.
どうだベアト。
How's that, Beato?
出てこい。前回の最後の最大の謎は今
God,
解けたぞ。
I've just solved the final biggest mystery from last time. As Battler claimed that forcefully, the crisp sound of clapping came out of nowhere and their surroundings turned bright red, becoming the witch's tea room.
ブラボーブラボー
Brava.
そ
Brava.
なたごとき無能にしてはようやくの感は否めぬが、とにもかくにも一つの回答を出してみせた。
I wish I could deny that someone as incompetent as you finally got a feel for it, but somehow or another you've managed to come up with a single answer.
思考停止ならコンクリートの塊でもできる。
Even a lump of concrete can stop
つ
thinking.
まりそなたはようやく今、ようやく知性ある存在に
You've
進化で
finally
きたわ
evolved
け
into
だ。
a being with intelligence. Congratulations, Battler. You're a monkey. He's returned to monkey. Is it smarter than his normal self?
ただ涙を流し、はがみしながらわらわの靴を舐めるだけの存在から、ようやく一歩を踏み出したと言
You
え
might
よ
say you've finally taken a step forward from the crying creature you were before, just licking my shoes and grinding your teeth. I can't believe that stupid wordplay threw me for so many lips last
俺
time.
も自分の情けなさに腹が立つ。
My lameness pisses even me off.
さあベアト、復唱要求だ。
Alright, Beato, repeat it.
在当者18人の中にじい様は含まれてると宣言できるものならやってみろ。
If you can announce that the 18 people on the island included grandfather, try and do it.
ああ、できやしねえさ。
That's right, you can.
すでに死んでるんだから
Because
な。
he was already
て
dead.
めえのまやかしは
This is
こ
the
れ
end of
で
your
終
deception.
わりだ。
That's very confident. I think Beato can shoot him down, though.
さて、
I
どう
skipped her
し
laughter,
たもの
sorry.
か。
Yeah, what do we have here?
赤き真実にて、一刀両断に叩き割ってやろうか。
Shall I slice that in two with the red truth?
いやいや、わざとここはじらして保留するのも良いかもしれぬ。
No, no. It might be good to hold back for now and let you get all
突
excited.
き落とすならより高みに誘ってからの方が面白いというもの。
If I'm gonna push you off a cliff anyway, it would be more interesting to lure you to a higher place first. As Beato sneered obnoxiously, she looked like she was searching for an expression that would tick me off even more. As though she was trying, or saying, the answer I'd reached was completely ridiculous. Compared to me, annoyed as I was with the witch's attitude, Gretel had a blank and exposed expression on her face. Okay. Almost as though she expected the witch to act that way.
なるほど。
I see.
バトラが学んで成長するように、魔女も学んで成長するのね。
Just like how Battler learned and grew, so has the witch.
どうしたよベアト。
What's wrong,
もっ
Beato?
たいぶるんじゃねえ。
Don't act so tough.
苦笑できるってのかよ。
I asked if you can repeat it.
答えろ。
Answer.
よしなさい、バトラ。
Stop it, Battler.
魔女は安易に答えないわ。
The witch isn't gonna answer so
自
easily.
らが利すると思わない限りね。
She's not gonna do it until she thinks it benefits her.
何？
What?
どういうことだ？
What do you mean?
これまでのゲームで、あなたが赤き真実とやらで翻弄されていたから、魔女は何度もそれを繰り出してきた。
You've been toyed with this red truth in games until now, so the witch used it many times.
でも、今や状況は
But
違
the
う。
situation's different now.
あなたは赤き真実を誘い出し、むしろそれを武器に使っているわ。
You're trying to draw the red truth out of her and are instead using it as your weapon.
そんな状況で、魔女が緑に赤を連発するわけもない。
In this situation, there's no way the witch will keep firing off the red without reason.
でしょ？
Right?
グレーテルとやら、
Gretel, or whoever you are.
そなたはバトラと違い、なかなかに
It
頭
seems
が
your
冴え
mind's
る
quite
よう
sharp, unlike battlers. That's because we're the new character. We need to show how relevant and intelligent we are. By making the audience think, oh, she's kind of smart, right?
わらわも恐ろしい敵を迎えたも
What a
のよ。
fearsome enemy I've welcomed in.
その通り。
That is correct.
バトラがわらわの赤き真実を期待する場面で、なぜに期待に応えてやらねばならぬ義理があるというのか。
When Battler hopes I'll use the red truth, do I have any responsibility to do so?
ない。
No.
わらわには、そなたが喜ぶことをする義理など、今朝食ったクロワッサンのパンくずの一かけらほどもない。
I don't even have a crumb from that croissant you ate this morning's worth of responsibility to please you.
この野郎。
Bastard.
その顔。
That's the face.
わらわが赤き真実などという遊びを始めたのは、そなたのその顔を見たかったからこそよ。
I started playing with the red truth just because I wanted to see that face.
その表情が拝めぬというなら、わらわにはこんな遊びをする理由がない。
I have no reason to play around if it won't give me a chance to see you look like that.
負け惜しみだろ。
You just don't like losing, right?
俺の副賞要求に応えられないからって、適当なこと言ってごまかそうったってそうはいかねえぞ。
Saying whatever you can to trick me because you can't answer my demand won't work.
うぬぼれるな。
Don't be so full of
そ
yourself.
の程度の答え、造作もなく切り捨てられる。
An answer like that would be cut to pieces without any effort.
だが、それをわらわはわざわざ赤で言わぬ。
I won't go out of my way to speak in red.
そなたが求めるから言わ
And I
ぬ。
won't do it simply because that's what you're asking me to.
なぜだかわかるか？
You know why?
さっき言ったわ。
You just said it.
一番美味しいところで突き落としたいって。
You wanna push him off of the sweetest
そ
spot?
の性悪な魔女はね、あなたが求めるところでは、もう赤は使
You're
わない
saying
って
she
言
won't
って
use the
る。
red anymore because that's what you want.
つまり、副賞要求なんていうお遊びにはもう付き合わないって
In
こ
other
と
words,
よ。
he's not gonna go along with this game of telling her to repeat things anymore.
その通り、その通り。
Exactly.
バトラと違い、この女は話が早い。説明がいら
Unlike
ぬ。
Battler, everything goes quickly with this girl with no need for explanations. I have been warned by the community that this is in fact the longest chapter of the entire series. So, when she says everything goes quickly, I'm like, are you serious?
わらわはわらわの望むとき、わらわが好むように赤き真実を語
I will say what I please with red truth at the time I desire.
そうね。
That's it.
赤き真実とはつまり、魔女が自由に行使できる権利。
Basically, it's the witch's right to use the red truth as she pleases.
人間側が望んだ時に行使しなければならない義務ではない。
She doesn't have to use it at whatever time the human side desires.
ただし、内容によるわ。
But even that depends on the situation. Oop, that's a typo. Institution? We all make mistakes.
内容
Hey, look, they spelled it right there. The situation?
どういうことだ
What do you mean?
魔女は、あなたの復唱要求に応える義務はない。
The witch has no responsibility to respond when you tell her to repeat
ただ
something.
し、あなたの主張によって魔女説が打ち破られてしまう時のみ義務が生じる。
But it does become her responsibility if and only if your claim can destroy the witch theory.
なぜなら、この裁判官なき法廷では、反論されないことはすなわち真実だから。
After all, in this trial court without a judge, that which is not refuted becomes the truth.
あなたが思考停止に陥り、
Just like how the witch theory made by the
魔
witch
女の主張する魔女説を反論できなければ、
will
そ
instantly
れが
become
直ちに真実となってきたように。
will instantly become truth if you collapse and stop thinking.
じゃあ俺の今の推理に反論がない以上正解だということでいいわけ
Since
か
she doesn't have a counter argument for my guess, that means it's right?
犯人は18人目の謎の人物 X でじいさまはすでに死んでいるという推理で正解だというわけか
So it's right that the culprit is the mysterious 18th person and grandfather is already dead?
少なくとも魔女が反論するまではね。
Until the witch argues back.
真実はより未来の新しい真実に負ける。
Truth always loses to new truths further in the future.
厄介なのは、その反論のタイミングすらも魔女に委ねられているという
The
点
tricky
よ。
part here is that the timing of the counter argument is up to the witch.
つまり、今のあなたの推理が正解しているのか、
In other words, maybe your reasoning just now is
それと
correct.
も間違っているにもかかわらず、魔女がその反論を保留しているのか。
Or maybe the witch is refraining from arguing back even though you're wrong. Remember when we said we were going to be quick and to the point?
さもなくば、そもそもその推理自体が魔女説を揺るがすことにならないため、
Or,
魔女が無視しているかのいずれか。
consider this, the witch may be ignoring it because it doesn't shake the basis of the witch theory in the first place.
現時点では判断がつかないということよ。
But either way, we can't tell the difference at the current time.
そんなところ
Is that more or less it?
ベルンカステル教名、すくすく厄介な駒を送り込んでくれたものよ。
Damn you, Lady Burncastel, for throwing in such a troublesome piece.
おかげでわらわの出番がさっぱりない。
Thanks to that, I'm losing all my lines. Real rough, Beatrice.
魔女はあなたの復唱要求に対し、タイミングをずらして答えることを覚えたのよ。
The witch learns she can respond to your demands to repeat phrases at a later time because we're no longer pursuing arguments only in order, right? Previously, we were arguing points and then not going back to them, but in Arc 3, we argued points, won several battles, and then the witch retroactively responded to the arguments later, forcing us to reformulate our argument after going so far.
ディレイトでも呼べばいいのかしら。
Maybe you could even call it a delayed move.
ふざけた真似を
Yeah, Battler, she's messing with you.
じゃあ俺は間違った推理を掲げたとしてもベアとはわざと否定せずに俺を泳がせ
We even find out some mistaken reasoning. There's a possibility that Beato will intentionally let me flounder about without denying that guess.
さらに壮大に推理を広げた最後の最後にその根元をちょんと断ち切って
And at the very end, when I propose an even more massive line of reasoning, she can cut it off at the base.
全てをひっくり返してくる可能性さえあるってわけなの
Turning
か
everything around. Yep. A single piece of reasoning becomes a bridge to the next piece, and by demanding she repeat lines, I've been able to strengthen my position and advance bit by bit. But since Beato learned this strange delay tactic, I can no longer confirm or deny my reasoning. It's like finally having a staff that'll let me search around in the darkness, only to lose it right away. I'm stuck now, right?
こらこらバトラー、そんなに絶望的な顔をしちゃわらわのよだれが止まらなくなっちまうじゃないかい。
Hey, Battler, if you make a despairing face like that, I won't be able to stop drooling, you see?
その杖はもともと不甲斐ないそなたにわらわが与えたものに過ぎぬではないか。
From the beginning, that staff was nothing more than something I gave you because you were so worthless.
ようやくこれでハンデなしの対決になるだけだぜ。
And all this means is you can finally challenge me without a handicap, right? So you're saying Battler's improved.
でもだからといって副賞要求がバトラの反撃手段の一つであることに変わりは
That
ない
alone
わ。
does not change the fact demanding you repeat things is one of Battler's ways to fight
すで
back.
に言ってる通り魔女は魔女説を打ち破る致命的なものに限り
As I already said, as long as it's something fatal that'll destroy the witch theory.
反論の義務すなわち赤き真実を語ることが義務となる。
The witch is obligated to argue back and therefore speak with the red truth.
反論のタイミングこそ魔女の自由ではあるけれどもそれは必ず履行されなければならない。
While the timing of the counter argument is up to the witch, it must be performed eventually.
そうよね。
Isn't that right?
そうなるであろうな。
Maybe so.
ゲームの終了時までにわらわがバトラの提唱する人間によるトリックを否定できなかった場合、
If I can't deny the tricks done by humans theory Battler lays out, by the time the game ends,
バトラはそれを理由にわらわを否定し勝利を宣言することが可能となろう。
Battler will use that as a reason to deny me, and that will be possibly for him to proclaim his victory.
それは人間側が提示するトリック説
Should we view this as a restriction on the witch side, the trick theory laid out by the human
すなわ
side?
ち副賞要求は必ずそのゲーム内つまりエピソード内に反論されなければならないという
That, in
魔
other
女側
words,
の制約という認識でいいのかしら。
what he tells you to repeat must be countered during the game?
そうなろう。
That's so.
バトラの目的はわらわがこの島で繰り広げる愉快なゲームのすべてを人間で説明し
Battler's
わら
goal
わ
is
を
to
否定してみせることだ。
Battler's goal is to show that he can explain the entire pleasant game I've laid out on his island with humans and deny me.
それをバトラが成し遂げたならその時点でバトラはゲームの勝者となるであろうぞ。
And if Battler succeeds in that at that time, he'll become the victor of the game.
ルール確認
Let me confirm the rules.
ゲーム終了時とはゲーム内の六軒島時間で1986年10月5日24時00分という認識でいい？
Should we view the time the game ends as referring to 2400 on October 5th, 1986, going by the time of Rockenshima in the game?
問題ないぞ。
I have no problems with that.
そのゲーム終了時に人間側が全ての謎についてトリック説を主張できていてか
At
つ
the time the game ends, the human side must state a theory using tricks for all the mysteries.
魔女側から反論がない場合人間側は勝利を宣言できるものとす
And
る。
if the witch side cannot argue back, the human side can proclaim its victory.
問題ない？
Does that work?
もう少し厳密としよう。
Let's be more specific. Because I think that's okay. Being more specific makes sense. Specific makes sense because, like, then you could propose a theory at 23:59, and because it's 2400 when you're done proclaiming the theory, there would be an automatic victory.
ゲーム終了時に魔女側には反論の機会が与えられるものとする。
When the game ends, the witch side will be given a chance to argue back.
時間を切ってもらうわ。
Let's decide on an
1
amount
分
of
よ。
time. 1 minute.
1分以内に反論が行われない場合勝利は宣言されるものとする。
If you can't carry a counter argument within 1 minute, victory will be proclaimed.
ならば同じルールをそちらにも課させてもらおうぞ。
Allow me to impose the same rule on you. It seems like it's gonna backfire really easily, Ange.
ゲーム終了時に人間側は与えられた謎に対し1分間の反論時間が与えられ
At
る。
the time the game ends, the human side will be given 1 minute to counter the mystery that's been given. 1 minute meta time or game board time? Yeah. The meta world does pause real time.
その時間内にたった一つであっても反論されない謎が残った場合
If even a
魔
single
女側の
mystery,
勝利となりその
if
ゲ
even
ー
a
ム
single
は終
mystery
了
is
する。
not countered within that time, it becomes the witch's victory and the game is over.
兆候を理由にゲームを止められては 今日をそぐのでな。
It'd be such a killjoy to have the game stop for lengthy consideration, right? Right?
くそったね。
Asshole.
俺を抜きで話が進んでやがるぜ。
Moving things along without me.
だが、話は大体分かった。
I more or less get what's going on.
俺の副賞要求は、即座でなくとも、必ず反論されなくてはならないわけだ。
Even if the lines I demand you repeat aren't countered instantly, they've got to be countered eventually. This seems to put them at a huge disadvantage, honestly, as they make a bunch of projections, and then she has 1 minute to come with arguments. She can think literally the whole game of her counter arguments. Then all she has to do is list them off, and then they have 60 seconds to rephrase their entire opinion on everything in order to reach like a realistic conclusion. This seems to only hurt the human side. Just think about it. Human side poses. Let's say you pose 10 questions, okay? You pose 10 questions. She has 2 whole days, the course of you presenting your questions, to come up with the answers. She doesn't need to say them. She just needs to, write them down. So they say, there's an extra person because Kinzo is dead. You write down in your notebook, respond with red text. There is no other person. Kinzo was killed on the island as the first sacrifice. Kinzo was killed on the island as the first sacrifice. At the time the game started, at 4 a.m. or whatever, he died of the first day. And you're like, okay, that disproves it. And you do that for every single statement, okay? You write those down, and then your 1 minute, you literally read off every single one of your lines. Your 10 lines. So you read 10 lines in 1 minute. And then you go to the human side. And the human side has 1 minute to completely rephrase and come up with all the answers for every single one of the mysteries. Now, I know that the 1 minute is, say, like, meta time, so they can have, like, a whole conversation in 1 minute rather than, 5-10 minutes. But basically, it's like putting every single one of the humans on the spot if she comes up with an answer to them and giving her infinite time to come up, giving her functionally infinite time because she has infinite meta time to come up with an answer, right? But since they'll be paused within the span of a minute, she'll be actively pressuring them, and they won't be able to just sit there and think about it for several hours as they watch other things happen. They'll just be pressed to immediately come up with an answer. It seems like it's a bad idea. Yeah, the meta world pauses real time, but the meta world, when you pause and you're sitting in the meta world, your time there is actively being pressured. They confront Battler with a problem he can't solve, and he's immediately forced to solve it. And he's panicking, he's under a ton of pressure, he can't think straight. Whereas Beatrice can just be okay. And then she can keep having discussions, can keep listening to what they're doing, can come up with multiple solutions, can come up with really cunning things because she has way the fuck more time to come up with these answers than they do, which seems like it's just bad for them, but we'll see how it goes.
そうよ。
That's right.
そしてそれは10月6日0時01分までに必ずなされ
That
る。
must happen before 001 on October 6th.
ただ注意して。
But be careful.
魔女はあなたの副賞要求をたった一つ切り捨てるだけでいい。
She only has to cut up one of the things you tell her to
すべ
repeat.
ての謎を解き明かさない限り、あなたに勝利は宣言できないのだから。
You can't proclaim victory unless you solve all the puzzles.
わらわが赤を使えるように。
Just as I can use the
バト
red.
ラ、今よりそなたには青を使うことを許そう。
I'll allow you to use the blue, Battler.
そなたはわらわの魔法殺人を人間とトリックで説明する際に青で宣言することができる。
When explaining my magical murders with human tricks, you may state your claims in
わらわは
blue.
ゲーム終了までの間にそなたの青を赤にて反論する義務を持つ。
And I'm responsible for countering your blue with the red by the end of the game.
青。
Blue.
つまり俺は、副賞要求を青
I'll
で語
talk in
るとい
blue
うこ
when I
とか。
tell you to repeat things?
少し違うぞ。
Not quite.
副賞要求はどんな些細なことでも可能だった。
When you told me to repeat lines, you were able to do it for any trivial thing.
しかし青はもう少し厳しいぞ。
Blue is a little more
そ
restricted.
れ自体が魔女を否定しない限り成立しない。
Unless it by itself denies wishes, it will not be valid. It's starting to get confusing, but it's more or less something like this. For example, let's take one of the riddles in the past where I asked her to repeat something. The actual number of master keys is 5. That had been to confirm there were 5 master keys when she claimed there were no more than 5. Since that by itself wouldn't deny wishes, I can't say it in blue. So in order to speak in blue, I need to say something like this. The actual number of master keys were greater than 5. The culprit entered or exited the room with that extra key. Only then would the witch who claimed that this was a closed room murder made with magic be responsible for making a counter-argument. In other words, I can't demand she repeat something that merely confirms the premise of my reasoning. It'll be a significant disadvantage for me. Crap. It's enough to make the red Beato used to toy with me until now look extremely merciful. This game seems unfair since this game seems silly since the rules are ever-changing, but alas.
仮に俺がある密室について仮説を立て、それを青で語ったとしても、
Even if I create a theory for a particular closed room and speak in
ベア
blue,
トがそれを最後の最後で否定してきやがったら、俺には次の仮説を立てる時間すら
if
もねえっ
Beato
てこと
denies
じゃ
it
ねえ
at the
か。
very, very end, I won't even have time to create my next
こ
theory.
のルールは最悪だ。
This rule
俺
is
にばかり不利だ。
awful for me.
また戦う前から屈服？
Are you gonna surrender before the fight begins again?
落ち着きなさい。
Calm
一
down.
つの謎に対して青は一度しか使えないとは言われてないわ。
No one said you could only use the blue once for each
それが
mystery.
どういう意味かわかる？
You know what that means?
いや、
No?
どういう意味だ？
What does it mean?
これまでのあなたは仮説を一つ立てては魔女の顔色を伺い、
In the pitiful way you've been fighting until now, you've made a single theory, glanced at the witch's
それ
complexion,
がダメだったらその時改めて別の仮説を立てるという
and if
情
that
けない
one
戦い方だ
didn't
っ
work,
た。
you'd start making another
それじ
theory.
ゃあ魔女は追い詰められない。
You won't corner a witch like that.
じゃあ、どうやって戦うん
How
だ？
do I fight? Well, now you can send multiple theory. You can give her 6 theories for a single mystery, right?
な、
You don't mean?
まさか。
It can't be.
ええ、そうよ。
That's right.
謎に点で挑むんじゃない。
You don't attack her in riddles with a point.
面で襲いかかるのよ。
You assault them with a
あな
wall.
た、以前のゲームで推理の姿勢はそうあるべきだと
You
自
said
ら
it
言った
yourself in an
わ。
earlier game. The force of your reasoning should be like that. Assault with a wall. That's right, I said so myself earlier. Guessing and trying to expose the mystery is like trying to shoot a distant target with an arrow. Until now, I've been firing off arrow after arrow, asking the witch if I scored a hit, and then preparing my bow once again if I'm told that I've missed. There's no way I'll hit at that rate. Bullets might be a better example than arrows. If you take one shot after another at distance, the handgun you probably won't hit easily, so how do you hit it? If a handgun doesn't work, use a shotgun. Instead of a single bullet, beat her down with shot comprised of countless projectiles at once. Shot scatters it so it impacts a wide area. Makes it optimal for shooting small, fast targets like birds. That's right, there's no real saying I have to guess like a pistol, shooting off one shot out at a time. Making a single theory and hoping that it hits is no better than stopping your own thinking. Blast away with a massive number of bullets of guesses and make them impact like a wall, so only one of them hitting the target's enough.
青。なるほど
Blue,
な。
huh? I
お
get
前
it.
の赤き真実が切れ味鋭い日本刀みたいなもんだとしたら、
If your red
俺の
truth,
青はどうやら三段銃。
if your red truth is a razor sharp katana, then it looks like my blue is a
い
shotgun.
や、火力で魔女を蜂の巣にする機関銃だぜ。
No, a machine gun whose firepower will turn the witch into a honeycomb. They are hex-shaped bullets. I get it.
下手な鉄砲数打ちゃなんとやらか。
Hexagonal holes, hexes, witches. It's so bad. I see. So it's an awkward gun that fires many shots.
そなたらしいそやな例えよ。
That sort of crude analogy is just like you.
推理小説なんかのクライマックスはいつもこうだった。
The climax of a detective novel is
名
always the
探偵
same.
が容疑者を一堂に集め、たった一つの推理を披露して、それを華麗に当ててみせるんだ。
The famous detective gathers all the suspects at once and displays a single trail of logic that works
まる
splendidly.
で、一本の矢で見事にリンゴを射抜く、 ウィリアム・テルのようにだ。
Almost like William Tell spectacularly shooting through an apple with a single
だから
arrow.
こそそれが美徳みたいに誤解しち
That's
まって
why
た。
I mistakenly took that to be a virtue. It probably would be splendid if I could shoot through the truth in a single guess. But that isn't realistic. Look at real wars. Do they have everyone pull long guns out of the trench, aim well, and take shots at each other one at a time? They don't, right? They fire rapidly, they fire all over the place, they pin down the enemy with a barrage. They use artillery instead of infantry because why would you put people in the line of fire? Reasoning is the same way. Because of that weird virtue, I've been stuck thinking it's better to take one line of reasoning at a time. We can fire off countless guesses and possibilities. The bullet is the power of imagination. Suspension of thought is a clogged barrel. The pathetic way I've been reasoning until now is like a pea shooter. You've been so lame, weakly firing off shots, getting them denied in red, and then taking the next bullet and reloading. My blue truth, which claims humans and tricks are what's real, will overpower its target, the illusion told by the witch with its firepower and force of what I can imagine. And this is my Ushiromi, a battler's fighting style.
お前のおかげで俺の本当の戦い方が分かってきたぜ。
They started killing each other again. No one's died yet. They're preparing and talking about things. Thanks to you, I've figured out my true fighting
ありがとうよ、グレーテル。
Thanks, Gretel.
どういたしまして。
You're welcome.
これまでの俺が情けなく思えてくら。
Makes me think of how pathetic I was before. Well, if Gretel's gonna be a proper player in this game, does she have her own version of truth? Yellow truths? Since we're picking primary colors. Or perhaps green? Green's a nice color. Maybe pink, because she's got a pink bow. Purple? Oh, no, gold. They wouldn't use yellow. They use gold truths. Yeah.
ああ、ベアと言う通りだぜ。
Yeah, like Bea
これまでの
said.
俺はハンデをもらってきた。
I've had a handicap till now.
そいつを認めるぜ。
I'll acknowledge that.
新ルール、了解した。
New rule understood.
俺には俺の戦い方がある。
I have my own way
そ
of
いつを
fighting.
見せてやれ。
And I'll show you it. Alright.
その息やよし、気に入ったぞ。
Dual power's good. I like it.
ならば早速使ってみるがいい。
And
そ
try
なた
using
の
rid of it.
青き真実とやらを。
This blue truth of yours.
ああ、使ってやるぜ。
Alright, I'll use it.
この青き真実だ。お前が主張する。全員にアリバイがあるから魔女の犯行しかありえないという魔女説は打ち砕ける。
With this blue truth, I'll break apart your witch theory, which states only a witch culprit was possible because everyone had alibis.
これが俺の真実だ。
This is my truth.
後ろ宮金蔵はすでに死亡している。
Ushiromi Akinzo is already dead.
よって、島の本当の人数は17人。
Therefore, the true number of people on the island is 17.
そこに、未知の人物 X が加わることで、18人となっている。
By adding an unknown person X to that, it becomes 18.
この人物 X の存在の過程によって、17人全員にアリバイがあっても、犯行は可能になる。
By supposing that this X person exists, crimes will be possible even if all 17 people have alibis. Yep. That's his proposition. Blue is like
つまり私たちは
propositional truths that have to be
これ以
solved
上
by
お
the
父
end of
様への面
the
会を
episode.
拒まれるならば、以下の
Or
仮説を
chapter.
立てなければならない
So,
の。
by the end of the chapter, Beatrice has to say something that disproves that statement. In short, if you keep preventing us from meeting with Father, we'll have to accept the following theory.
つまり、お父様はすでに亡くなっている。
Simply put, Father is already dead.
しかし、遺産を分配したくないクラウス兄さんがそれを隠してる。ってね。
You're hiding that because you don't want the inheritance to be distributed.
バカバカしい。
Ridiculous.
そうです。バカバカしいにも程があります。
It's worse than ridiculous.
これほどの侮辱は初めてです。
I've never heard of such an insult.
私たちは警官立ち会いのもとで強制的にその生死を確かめることさえ可能よ。
I mean, it'd even be possible for us to check by force whether he's alive or dead with the police there to witness it.
ねえ、エヴァ姉さん。
Isn't that right, Eva Nason?
ええ。
Yes.
そうよ兄さ
That's
ん。
right, Nissan.
話は何とでもでっち上げられるわ。
There's all sorts of ways we could set you
兄
up.
さんが第三者の立ち会いのもとにお父様を面会させなければならない状況になんて簡単にお膳立てができるわ。
We could easily arrange for a situation where you'd have to hold a meeting with father under suspicion of a third party.
でも
Or supervision of a third party. Still,
それは後宮家にとってとても不名誉なことだと思うの。
I think that would bring shame to the Ishiromiya family.
だから私はこの提案をしている。
And that's why I'm making this
世話
proposal.
人の義務と責任、
Here we have the responsibilities and duties of the caretaker.
万一の際のペナルティ、
And a penalty in the worst case scenario.
これを承諾してくれれば、私たちはお父様を無理やり引きずり出すなんて真似は控えることができる。
If you consent to these terms, we'll refrain from doing something like dragging father outside.
ああ、そうだぜ、兄貴。
That's right, Aniki.
さっき言ったじゃねえか。
Didn't you just say it
兄貴は
yourself?
世話人として当然の義務を果たしてるってね。
You're just carrying out your natural duties as dad's caretaker.
キリエの条件は大したことじゃねえはずだぜ。
Kyrie's conditions shouldn't be anything to worry about, right? Of course.
なぜ過剰反応する？
Why this overreaction? Is he already dead?
親父が自然死以外の理由で死んだ場合、次期当主から引きずり下ろされるってのが
Are you
そんな
really
にも
worried
気になる
about
のか
having the position of successor dragged out from under you if dad dies of something other than a natural death?
それとも何？
Or else what?
お父様が自然死以外の理由で亡くなるような心当たりでもあるのかし
You
ら？
have some reason to think father might die of something other than a natural death? Got any reasons for that, buddy?
そんな心当たりなどあ
Why,
る
how
わけ
could
も
I?
ない。なるほど。私にも親父殿の気持ちが分かってきたよ。
Now I too understand how father feels.
死に方一つ自由にさせてもらえないとは、実に気の毒な晩年だよ。
How pitiful his later years have been for him, unable to even die as he pleases.
ええ、本当に気の毒な晩年ね。
Yes, his later years have been truly pitiful.
その晩年が実はもう過去のことじゃないのかと私たちは疑っているの。
And the thought that these later years was already something in the past is exactly what we're suspecting.
この疑惑は私たちをお父様に面会させてもらえるだけであっさりと解けるわ。
I mean, you could completely clear this suspicion away by letting us meet with father.
ここまで私たちに侮辱されてもそれでも面会は許されないんですか？クラウス兄さん。
Humiliated by us this much, you still won't allow us to meet with him, Kraus Nissan?
お父様は多分すでに亡くなっているわ。
Father is probably already dead.
おそらく遺体は極秘のうちにどこかに処分したでしょう。
The corpse may have been disposed of in absolute secrecy.
そしてお父様の代理ということで財産を独占した後、
After taking all the wealth for yourself as father's regent,
失踪したことにして7年かけてお父様を死体なき死者にする。
and you'll make it seem like he disappeared until 7 years passed, making father a corpseless member of the deceased.
ごめんなさいね。気を悪くしないで。
Sorry, but please don't take it badly, okay?
これはあくまでも私の推理ごっこだから。
I'm just playing detective here. I'm not a bad guy.
無礼極まりない。
How rude can one be?
あ
Pretty
な
rude,
た
apparently.
この屋敷にとどまる資格はありません。
You have no right to say that in the mansion. Bear in mind, Kinzo is supposedly alive and well in the mansion. These guys visit once a year-ish, and they haven't seen him in multiple years. Does this Nazi have any other sprite? She does. She's just currently outraged a whole lot because they keep making claims, and she's really defensive.
即刻退場なさい。
Leave immediately.
二度と当家の敷居をまたぐことを許しません。
I won't permit you to cross the threshold of this house again. Good luck with that one.
去年通用した手が今年もまた通用すると思ったのが運の尽きね。
It worked last year, but you used up your luck if you thought it'd work this year too. Yeah, it's been 2 years since we saw the old man.
お父様はご機嫌斜めだから面会できない？
Father's in a bad mood, so he can't meet with us?
去年の時点で十分不審だったのに、今年もだなんて。
It was plenty suspicious last year, and you're doing it again.
お父様の代理を語り、財産を乗っ取るなら、もっとスピーディーにやって。
If you really, really wanted to fake being father's agent and grab up all his assets, you should have done it a little more speedily.
今日の親族会議を待たずに失踪させるべきだったわね。
Yeah, make him disappear without waiting for today's family conference.
さすがに甘いわよ、クラウスお兄様。
You really are naive, Kraus Oni-sama.
君が何のことを言っているのか私にはさ。
I have no clue what you're...
でも、
However,
お父様がご機嫌斜めなのは事実で、
if it's a fact that father's in a bad
クラウ
mood,
ス兄さんが世話人としての責務として私たちの面会を拒んでるのだとしたら、それはとても立派なことよね。
preventing us from meeting him as part of your responsibilities as caretaker, that's a very wonderful thing you're
な
doing.
ら、私の出した条件を飲んでくれれば、この場は収まるわ。
If that's the case, if you just accept our conditions, everything will be settled here and now.
何しろ、お父様のことをこんなにも大切にするクラウス兄さんですもの。
After all, you care so greatly for
お
Father
父様に
Kraus-san.
検視されて困るような死に方があるわけがない。
There's no way father would die in a manner that leads to trouble during the autopsy.
いずれにせよ、お父様は病院嫌いなんだから、書斎で亡くなるでしょうね。
After all, he hates hospitals, so he'll pass away in his study,
いずれ
right?
にせよ、必ず検視は行われるわ。
An autopsy will certainly be carried out no matter what
検
happens.
視を逃れて殺すには、失踪しかない。
The only way to kill him without an autopsy would be for him to disappear.
キリエさん、兄さんをいじめるのはそれくらいにしてくださらないか
Enough,
しら。
Kirie-san. I think you've bullied Nisan enough. Eva rebuked Kirie in a sickeningly kind voice. Considering the situation, that was impossible. Which was why it was sickening.
兄さんにもいろいろと都合やプライドもあるはず。
I'm sure Nisan has his own difficulties to worry about as well as his
兄さん
pride.
にとって当然の義務であっても、
True, Nisan might consider that one of his natural duties.
それを文書化して、その上ペナルティまで課せられたんじゃ。
If you force him to put it on paper and assign penalties,
そりゃ不愉快なはず
I
よ。
could hardly blame him for getting upset.
ねえ、ローザ。
Right, Rosa?
ええ、そうね。
That's right.
クラウス兄さんの長男としてのプライドを軽んじすぎたか
She
も
might
しれ
have
ない
made
わ。
light of Kraus Nisan's pride as eldest son a little too
キ
much.
リエさんの言うような世話人の責務についての覚書にサインというの
I'd
は
feel bad for him if
さ
we
す
were
がに気の
to
毒かもしれない。
force him to sign a statement regarding the duties of caretaker as Kirie-san has laid them out.
そうだね。兄貴はよくやってくれて
You're
る。
doing a good job, Aniki.
そこを汲み取り、おかしな書類にサインとか、万一の時はペナルティとか。
Taking that into account, we might consider avoiding all that about signing strange papers and worst case penalties.
そういう話を抜きにして、兄貴に全部一任するこ
And
とを
leave everything
考
to you.
えても。
お前ら
You people. What do you mean, you people? Not just Ava, but Rudolph and Rosa as well, with unnerving smiles on their faces as though they'd planned this beforehand, began closing in on Kraus. But he's been here before, haven't we just seen him shrug it off? They now understood perfectly how Kyrie had cornered Kraus and exactly where she was prepared to compromise.
世話人の責務についての覚書。
Well, we were talking about a signed statement regarding the responsibilities of a
これ
caretaker.
にサインすることなく、私たちがお父様への面会を生涯求めないことにもできるわ。
Even without signing such a thing, you can make it so we never demand a meeting with Father
覚
again.
書などなくても、クラウス兄さんが世話人にふさわしいという保証をしてくれれば。
You could prove your fitness as Father's caretaker with a form of guarantee other than a signed statement, that is.
私にその保証金を支払えというのかね。
Are you telling me to pay security money?
これはおかしい。
Hilarious.
保証金は、エヴァさん、ルドルフさん、そしてローザさんの3人に、1 1人30億円ずつ。
Security money will be paid to Eva-san, Rudolph-san, and Rosa-san, 3 billion yen each.
手付金としてその1割の3億円ずつを今年度中に振り込んでもらうわ。
As a deposit, you'll transfer 10% of that 300 million before the year is out.
90億だと
9 billion?
そんな金はない。
I don't have that kind of money.
お父様がお亡くなりになった後なら捻出できるはずよ。
After father passes away, you should be able to work it out.
私たちもその程度には下調べは済んでる。
We've managed to investigate at least that far.
手付金の9億円だってクラウスさんの財産状況ならなんとかなるはず。
And you should be able to handle the deposit of 900 million yen in your current financial situation.
それこそお父様に借りることだって可能
It
でしょ。
should even be possible for you to borrow it from father.
白
Right?
々しい演技は不要よ。
There's no need for obvious charades anymore.
不愉快だ。
How unpleasant.
実に不愉快な話だ。
Really unpleasant. Yeah, he's upset, but as I recall, they need this money urgently, so he's able to flex on them, or at least he was previously. Let's see if he does that again.
全くです。
It isn't that.
お父様の遺産の話だけでも十分不敬だというのに、
Even just the discussion of father's inheritance was far too disrespectful.
お父様はもう死んでいる。
He's already dead.
主人がそれを隠していて財産を独占している。
My husband is hiding and keeping all the money for himself.
もううんざりです。
I've had enough of this.
あなたたち全員にもはや後ろ宮を名乗る資格などありません。
None of you are qualified to bear the name Ushiromiya any longer.
落ち着いてや、夏井さん。
Calm down, Nazi-san.
みんなももう話はこれまでや。
We've all said all we need to.
どうや、この場の話は一旦ここまでにせんか。
Why don't we leave it at that for
規模
now?
がでかい上に唐突な話や。
This is happening all of a sudden and on such a massive
わしら
scale.
も興奮してるところがあるかもしれん。
We might even be getting agitated ourselves.
ここは一旦休憩を挟んで頭を冷やさんか。
Why don't we take a break for a while and cool our
ク
heads?
ラウス兄さんにもちょいと時間が必要やろ。
Kraus Nissan probably needs some time by
な
himself.
クラウスさん。
Right, Kraus?
時
Time.
間そんなものがなぜ私に必要なのかね。
And why would I need something like that?
まあ。
Ah, don't worry, don't
わ
worry.
しらかて本音じゃボスなことなど考えとらん。
Thinking of anything shady.
どうしてもお父さんに会わせてもらえんからちょいと嫌味が言いたくなっただけなんや。
We're just so eager to see father, we've started grumbling a bit.
それにクラウスさんが売り言葉に買い言葉で頭に血が上ってしまったのもよーわかっと。
And Kraus Nissan, I know real well how you're dying to get back at us for those things we said.
クラウス兄さんかって本当はそこまで言うんなら合わせてやってもいいと思っとるんや。
If you're willing to go so far, you just need to let us meet with him.
な、
Right?
そうやろ。
Isn't that right?
ただついつい意地になってもうたんで今さら会ってもいいなんて言えなくなってしまっただけや。
You just got a bit stubborn and it felt awkward to say that you'd let us see him after saying we couldn't all those times.
せやろ。
Isn't that
な
it?
な
Right? Right?
確かに主人も皆さん同様少々冷静を欠いてしまったところもあ
It
る
does
でしょう。
certainly seem that my husband has lost his composure slightly, just like the rest of you have. I like how she doesn't admit she's lost her composure like 10 times.
私たちはお父様の皆さんに会いたくないという意思を尊重して堅くなに断っていたに過ぎま
We're
せ
only
ん。
refusing stubbornly out of respect for father's desire not to meet with everyone. Of course.
そうだな。
Indeed, that's right. And everyone else is just like, uh-huh,
つい
uh-huh.
昔のような兄弟喧嘩になってしまい私も意地になってしま
It
っ
was turning into another sibling fight like the old days. I started feeling stubborn as
た。
well.
頭を冷やそう。
Let's cool our heads.
お前たちが親父殿にどうしても私もそれを伝える。
I understand how much you all want to meet with father. I'll pass it on
な
to
ん
him.
とか面会してもらえるよう親父を説得しよう。
I'll find some way to convince father to meet with you.
それでどうかね。
Will that do?
そうね。
Yeah?
クラウス兄さんに説得の時間を与えてもいいと思うわ。
I think it'd be okay to give Kraus Nissan some time to persuade father.
そうだね。
Yep.
頼むぜ兄貴。
We're counting on you, Aniki.
俺たちに会ってくれるよう よく
Please
説
persuade
得
him
し
to
て
meet
く
with
れ。
us.
何しろ親父の世話人なんだからよ。
Your dad's caretaker.
その説得だけど、今夜中って制限を設けさせてもらうわよ。
As for persuading him, let's set a limit on it to sometime tonight,
明日
okay?
になったら、私たちは書斎の扉を打ち破ってでもお父様の安否を確認するわ。
Tomorrow comes, we'll confirm father's well-being, even if we have to break down the door to his study.
それでいいわよね。
You have no problems with that, I take it? It seems like he hasn't come up with a counter-argument either because I think his counter-argument normally comes after dinner, or this is going slightly differently from normal, and he's not ready to throw down with them.
兄さん、
Nisa,
好きにするがいい。
do as you like.
なるほど。説得すらも大して時間はかけられないようだ。
Seems even the time I've been given to persuade him is short. Well, we're only on the island for 2 days, dumbass.
夏日、行こう。
Let's go, Natsuhi.
せめて晩餐にはご一緒していただくようお願い申し上げよ
She'll ask him to join us for dinner at least.
はい。
Right. Kraus left the parlor with Natsuhi. Once their footsteps disappeared, Hideyoshi took a deep breath, smirking and flopping onto the sofa.
キリエさん、
Here he is.
あんた恐ろしい人やな。
You're a frightening person.
勝手な口出しをしてごめんなさい。
Oh, sorry for speaking out
謝
of
る
turn.
わ。
I apologize.
いやいや、当初の計画にはなかった追い詰め方だが、結果は上々だ。
No, no, you didn't corner him like we'd originally planned, but in the end this was even better. True, their original plan was just to try and coax money out of him by agreeing to take a lesser cut of the inheritance that he was probably embezzling money from anyway.
相変わらず、お前ってやつには頭が下がるぞ。
Like always, I gotta bow my head to you.
でも9億円も用意できるの
Can
か
he
しら。
really prepare 900 million? So this did go differently. I think in the previous arcs, I was trying to remember if it was this scene or the after dinner scene. The way they approached him was they basically accused him of embezzling funds and put him under pressure to get them 300 million to shut the fuck up about him embezzling money from his grandfather. In this case, they were planning the same thing, but Kyrie went with a accusation that he's hiding grandfather because he's, or their father, not grandfather, that because he's already dead, and all he has to do is present him, right? If Kinzo comes down, he's not dead. If Kinzo doesn't come down, well, he's dead, and you owe us 300 million, and you owe us each 3 billion yen and 300 million this year, or we'll ring up the police, you know? Like, oh no, or there's gonna be trouble, right? There's gonna be trouble. And they're like, there won't be trouble as long as you just give us some money. Seems fair. Can he really repair
ク
that
ラウ
money?
ス兄さんの財政状況ギリギリで 7.5 億が限界と私たちは計算したはず。
I believe we estimated 750 million would be the most Kraus Nissan could afford with his current financial situation.
9億はさすがにふっかけすぎじゃない？
Isn't 900 million gouging him too much?
無理なら無理でいいのよ。
Oh, if he can't do that, that's
クラウ
fine
ス
too.
兄さんの顔を立てて、7.5 億に減額とかやれば、譲歩したっぽく見えて収まりやすいでしょ？
If we do something like lowering it to 750 million so Kraus Nissan can save face, it'll look like we're compromising and be easier to settle, right?
本当に9億出てきたなら大成功だし。
And if he does come out with 900 million, that's even better.
兄さん、今頃夏日さんと作戦会議中でしょうね。
He's probably having a strategy meeting with Natsuhi-san right about now.
あのプライドの高い兄さんがどんな言い訳をしながらへりくつをこねてくるか。
It'll be interesting
本
to see
当
what
に
kind
見
of
物だわ。
it'll be interesting to see what kind of twisted logic our proud Nissan comes up with as an excuse.
お父さんを説得
Convince
でき
father.
るわけがない。
There's no way you can. There's no way to convince someone who isn't even there. Witch laughter in the background. Is this where she moves Kinzo out of his room somehow?
兄弟たちも年に一度の親族会議に
This is the first time
それぞれの
Kraus.
都合を合わせてやってきています。
This is the first time Kraus has ever set foot on screen in Father's lobby, by the way. We're on episode 4. This is the first time Kraus has actually gone in here. Usually he's rejected at the door. Usually rejected at the door, sometimes just by Genji or Nanjo. The siblings must have all come, despite their various circumstances, for this annual family conference. Kraus and Natsuhi could be seen in Kinzo's dimly lit study, and Natsuhi is never allowed in. Oh boy, this is interesting. Okay. Every once in a while, thunder could be heard and the dimly lit room flickered with light. It seemed the island would be closed off by the storm very soon.
お父様、
Father,
どうか今一度不敬な彼らに当主様の威厳をお示しください。
please, just this once, show these disrespectful people the majesty of the head.
ダメだな。
It's useless. It's all useless. A large shadow of a person standing by the window, his majestic back facing them, answered quietly and forcefully. He hung his head and shook. Eventually, they could hear a mumbling laugh over his shoulder.
ダメだな。全然ダメだ。
Useless. It's all useless. Three months left to live? An almost finished geezer? To whom exactly are you referring? You fools! This is the most intense he's looked in ever, I think. This is, I think, the first time we've seen his expression sheet use this particular expression.
弟たちに恫喝されてのこのこやってきたか。
Fools, did you wander over here because your siblings threatened you?
恥を知れ。
Know your shame. As Kinzo turned and brushed his cape, it flashed forcefully through the room's stale air. The air pressure truly signified Ushiromiya Kinzo's majesty and willpower itself. After being blown back by the wind, it wasn't strange that Kraus landed on his butt. Hold up, this guy just turned around and Kraus collapsed in awe? As though showing consideration for Kraus, who looked as though his legs had been swept out from under him, Natsuhi also crouched down. And then, with a thunk, Kinzo's footsteps approached with a heft that signified his dignity.
お父さん。
Father.
バカや。カノンに聞いておるわ。貴様が弟たちにどれほど情けなく手玉に取られたかをな。
I heard it from Canon. How far did you pathetically let your siblings lead you around by the nose?
お父様、
Father,
夫はお父様の名誉を守るために懸命に。
my husband is doing his best to protect your honor. Without lending an ear to Natsuhi's words, Kinzo extended his palm to Kraus's collar as the latter sat on the floor. He curled his fingers, leaving only his pointer finger out, and then took that finger and pressed it up against Kraus's collar, twisted it, and slowly, with just one finger, picked Kraus up into the air. With one finger.
情けないやつだな、お前は。
You really are a pathetic
妻
fool.
に自分の弁解をさせるのか。
You let your wife speak in your defense?
言い訳くらい自分でしてみせよ。
If you have an excuse, give it yourself. He's getting strangled by one finger. Kraus clawed at the air. Kinzo's brawny finger was choking him. He couldn't even open his mouth, much less talk. However, even if he had been able to open his mouth, as he was now, there'd be no way he'd be able to come up with an excuse that Kinzo would accept. Still, how could this power be described? No one would call Kinzo an old man after seeing this superhuman strength.
お父様、
Father,
夫はお隣に戦いました。
my husband's fighting in his own right.
お許しください。
Please forgive him.
夏日。
Natsuhi.
戦いというのはな、勝つまでの過程を言うのだ。
Fighting is a process you go through before
負け
winning.
るまでの過程は戦うとは言わぬ。
Process you go through after before losing isn't called fighting.
それはただ一言。
It's
みっ
called
と
being
もないというの
called
だ。
being pathetic.
これが私の後継ぎだというの
And you
か
call this my successor? As thunder roared, Kinzo laughed heartily as though nothing could be more pleasant. And when he finished laughing, he threw his son away like he was scrap paper, slamming him against the wall. Okay. Kinzo going, fully... Kinzo's gone 100% full magic, just picking people up and throwing them around the room. Alright. Are you okay? Rose slid down the wall, rubbing his throat as though in pain. Natsuki ran up to him and looked after him, but without showing any interest in the two of them, Kinzo returned to the space near the window as though he'd been there the whole time and looked up at the thunderclouds of misfortune.
ベアトリーチェにさえ会えれば我が人生には何の悔いもないと思っていたが
I thought I would have no regrets in my life if I could only meet Beatrice.
どうやらそういうわけにもいかぬらしい
But it seems it won't go so
魔
smoothly.
女より得たものは何も残せぬのが初めからの約束
It was promised from the beginning nothing received from the wish would
し
remain.
かし後ろ宮の名は魔女のものではない
However, the Ashiromiya name is not the property of the
その
witch.
名を継ぐのが誰にふさわしい
Who's
か
fit to succeed that
どう
name?
やらそれだけはわしが自らの手で解決せねばならぬ
Seems
よう
this
だ
alone must be resolved by my own hand.
喜べクラウス
Rejoice,
気が
Kraus!
変わったぞ
I've changed my mind.
お父さん
Father?
では
So,
貴様らふぬけどもと食事をする気など起きぬ
I have no desire to have dinner with you
だが
cowards.
その後の親族会議には出席する
However, I will attend the family conference afterwards. Oh my. Inzo's gonna leave his room for once in 4 routes. Alright.
お父様
Father,
ありがとうございます
thank you very much.
私はその席上で当主継承についての重大な発表をするであろう
There, I'll make a great announcement regarding the succession of the
お
head.
前たちのくだらない争いは私自らが解決してやる
I'll resolve your foolish quarrel myself. So he's gonna come down this time. So he just... I like how the exact second they propose that he's already dead because he's never been seen out of his room is the only route where he actually leaves his room. Like, literally the exact second they're like, ah, he's probably already dead. Boom. Suddenly leaves his room for no reason. Bad RNG on Ange and Battler's side, I guess, if he shows up. Like, so far, he's never left his room. Bam! Leaves his room. Alright, then. Forcefully opening the door with a clunk, Rosa flew in with Maria.
源氏さんか誰かいない
Is Genji or anyone there?
誰でもいいのバスタオルを持ってきて
Doesn't matter who. Bring us a bath towel. There was already a full-blown typhoon outside, and it was starting to pour down hard. Even though she'd had an umbrella, Maria had been in the rose garden amidst all the wind and rain the whole time. She'd grown ice cold. Oh no. Maria had gotten into a minor fight with Rosa in the rose garden and been told to stay there. She did as she was told and continued waiting in the spot even though the rain was pouring down. Rosa certainly got a little emotional and angry, but Maria's stubborn whim was probably more to blame. The cousins who had seen the exchange were relieved to see mother and child were close to each other again. Rosa scrubbed Maria's head with a towel. She seemed overcome with worry that Maria caught a cold, but Maria herself was nonchalant.
大丈夫
Are you okay?
寒気とかしない
You didn't catch a cold, did you? How would she know? It's been like 2
やっぱ
seconds.
り一度戻って着替えさせた方がいいかしら
We really should go back for now and get a change of clothes.
全然平気。
I'm fine.
それよりお腹空いたから着替えよりご飯がいい。
Reportedly, I'm hungry, so food's better than changing clothes.
大丈夫そうだぜ、ローザおばさん。
It's important for me to include the sounds, right? Right? I assume the ooh sound came through there. She looks okay, Aunt
ど
Rosa.
んだけ元気ならきっと大丈夫だよ。
She's gotta be if she's this spirited.
傘があって本当に良かったよ。
The good thing
ひ
she
ょ
had
っと
an
したら
umbrella.
ずぶ濡れかもしれないと思ってたからね。
I was thinking she might be soaked to the bone.
傘を持ってたのは不幸中の幸いだったよ。
The fact she had an umbrella certainly is a silver lining.
でもよマリア、
But Mario,
いくら傘があってもこんな大雨になったらちゃんと雨宿りしなきゃダメだぜ。
even if you have an umbrella, you gotta get to shelter when it starts raining so hard, okay?
女の子は体を冷やしちゃ絶対にいけない。
Little girls definitely shouldn't let their bodies get cold.
うーん。
Oh. So you shouldn't have cold showers, I guess?
いいのよジェシカちゃ
I'm
ん。
not disagreeing, but I mean, some people like cold showers. It's okay, Jessica-chan.
ママがそこにずっといなさいと言ったのが悪いの。
It's Mama's fault for telling her to stay there.
本当にごめんね。
Sorry, I'm really sorry.
本当にごめんね。
マリアいい子。
I'm a good girl.
ママの言う通りにしてたからいい子。
I'm a good girl for doing what Mama said.
寒くてもずっといた。ママが来るまでずっといた。
I stayed there even though it was cold. Stayed there until Mama came. Wasn't she there because she was obsessing over the flower or something? Yeah, she was obsessing over the rose she was looking for, right? It wasn't necessarily that she was following orders. Or maybe it wasn't this
マ
route.
リアは本当にいい子よ。
Yes, you really are a good girl,
ママの
Mario.
言いつけをちゃんと守ったわね。
You did exactly what Mario said.
本当に偉い
Or
わ。
Mama said. Very well.
でも
Very well done.
次からはママの言いつけであっても、あんな大雨になったらちゃんと雨宿りをするのよ。
But next time, even if Mama tells you to do something, find some shelter if it starts raining
いい
like
わね。
that.
マ
Okay?
マと約束よ。
Promise, Mama.
ママと約束。
Promise, Mama. Promise, Mama. As Rosa held Maria, they joined their pinkies together and promised. Battler and the others realized by touching her mother's pinky, the warmth had started to return to Maria's body.
カノンくん、タオルをありがとう。
Kanon-kun, thanks for the towel.
助かったわ。
It helped,
それでは失礼いたします。
if you'll excuse me. As Kanon bowed with a blank expression as though he'd done nothing that required gratitude, he left the parlor.
さあ、もうお夕飯よ。
Okay, it's already dinner
みんなも
time.
行きましょう。
Go together.
偉いマリアには後でママの分のデザートも分けてあげるわ。
I'll even give Maria my dessert for being so good.
本当ママ。
Really, Mama?
デザートもらえる。
Get dessert?
ママ大好き。ママ大好き。
Love Mama, love Mama.
こらマリア、はしゃがないの。
Maria, don't jump around.
ママもマリアが大好きよ。
Mama loves you too,
マ
Maria.
リア大好き。マリア大好き。
I love you, Maria. I love you, Maria. All right.
マリアもママ大好き。ママ大好き。
I love Mama too. Wow, we got like another scene of them being happy together.
うーうーうーうー。
What is happening? Who are you and what did you do with Rosa? There is no Rosa who would ever say, "Ooh." Happily. She fucking hates that line, and it's like every time Maria says it, she wants to like slap her. What's going on, Rosa? What is happening in this game board? Suddenly, Rosa and Maria are best friends, and Rosa even uses her oohs. Rosa and Maria look really close. Even the cousins who watched started to feel a long forgotten warmth fill up their chests.
このくらいの年頃が親と一番仲がいいのかもしれねえな。
Isn't she like really... Isn't Rosa really antagonistic to Maria? They do not get along that well. But Battler turns around and is like, you know, this might be the age when you're on best terms with your parents.
うちはそうでもなかったぜ。
It wasn't like that for me.
母さんとかいっつも勉強勉強とうるさかったな。
Mom was always yelling at me to study, study, study.
子供を愛していればこそだよ。
That's because they love their children.
親の愛は優しさや甘やかしだけじゃないんだよ。
Parents' love isn't always gentle and indulgent.
僕の母さんも厳しかったけど、僕を大事に思ってくれたからこそだって今ならわかるよ。
My mother was strict with me too, but now I realize it was because she treasured me so.
ママ大好き。ママ大好き。
Yeah, she's good. We're still going. Love mama, love mama.
マリア大好き。マリア大好き。さあ、食事に行きましょ
So, shall we go get some food?
う。お手手つないで仲良くね。
Let's be friends and hold hands.
お手手つないで仲良く。
Be friends and
マ
hold
マ
hands.
とマリア、仲良し仲良し。
Mama and me, friends, friends, friends.
そうよ。
It's right.
ママとマリアは仲良しよ。
Mama and Mari are
いつまで
friends.
もずーっとね。
We'll always be
愛
like
して
this.
るわ。マリア。
Love you, Mario. That seems really odd.
なんだよ、突然。
Hey, Battler noticed it too. What's going on all of a
どう
sudden?
した？
What's up? The sudden sound came from the teacup Gretel had been holding, which fell and smashed.
ごめんなさい。ぼん
Sorry.
やりしてたわ。
I got
落と
careless.
しちゃってごめんなさい。
Sorry for dropping it. So the crash was not us breaking the plates. Just to be clear, it was Ange dropping her teacup. The cup on the floor had smashed to pieces. Would it really have made such a sound and smashed to pieces just by being dropped from that height? Even someone as thick-headed as Battler could realize she was in a bad mood over something, but he couldn't understand why she had suddenly grown so displeased. When she made to bend over and pick up the fragments of the cup, Ronove appeared out of nowhere and stopped her.
お怪我をなさいますよ。
You'll injure
お
yourself.
片付けは私どもにお任せを。
Leave the cleanup to me.
紅茶のおかわりをお持ちしましょう
Shall I
か。
bring you another cup of black tea? I'm like very confused at how this route's going, as there's a couple characters who are acting completely out of character. Specifically, this scene with Rosa and Maria and Kinzo actually letting people into his study and leaving it.
いらないわ。
I don't
ど
even.
うも悪魔の紅茶は口に合わないみたい。
I guess the demon's black tea just doesn't match my taste.
ほう。
Oh.
どの上の紅茶でも口に合わぬものがおったとは。
I think there's someone whose tastes aren't satisfied even by Ronove's
そ
tea.
なたの肥えた舌には敬意を表するぞ。
I must respect your discerning palate.
退屈してきたんで、ちょっと席を外すわ。
I'm getting bored. I'll go out for a second.
退屈？
Bored?
おいおい、いよいよこれからだろうが。
Wait, this is where things start to get
多分
interesting.
この時点でマリアはまた傘と手紙をベアトリーチェから受け取ってるって言い出すんだぜ。
About now, Maria's probably gonna say she got an umbrella and letter from Beatrice again,
こ
right?
こからが重要だってのに。
It's an essential part.
失礼するわ。
Excuse
ごめん
me.
なさいね。後片付けをお願い。
Sorry, I'm counting on you to clean this up.
お任せを。
Leave it to me. Without saying anything else, Gretel disappeared of her own accord. Her form literally melted and disappeared into thin air. There was definitely a displeased expression on her face. Neither Battler nor Runaway, and of course not Beato either, could understand why her mood suddenly worsened. All that remained was the scent of the black tea she spilled. I feel like Rosa was acting very out of character there, so I kind of get it. I don't like it. No, to be more blunt, it disgusts me.
なんでエンジェはイラついてるの？
Why are you so irritated, Ange?
なんでって、
Why, you say?
決まってるでしょ？
Isn't it obvious?
マリアにはわからないよ。
I don't understand. Even Mario One-chan with that blank expression on her face irritated me. As I held my hands palm up in the empty air, from out of nowhere a single book landed on them. It was Mario One-chan's diary. Even though I didn't turn the pages were flipped through despite there being no wind. And as the door to Mario One-chan's world opened.
どうしてエンジェはマリアが幸せじゃないと思うの？
How do you think I'm not happy, Ange?
客観的に判断してよ。
Think about it objectively.
客観的にエンジェの主観でだね。
Objectively, you mean from your viewpoint, right?
真実は私にとってのものとマリアお姉ちゃんにとってのものとでは
Are you
異な
trying
る
to
と
say
言い
the
たいの。
truth is different from me and you, Mario One-chan?
真実は観測者によって形を変えるよ。
Truth can change its form depending on the observer.
そして未来の観測者が常にその形状を上書きする。
Observers from the future always overwrite that
エンジェ
form.
はマリアの幸せをどうしたいの？
Ange, what are you trying to do to my happiness? The pages of the diary were flipped through at greater and greater speeds. Yeah, Rosa oscillates between too strict happy and too indulgent. Yeah, for sure. You read it as you left her totter out in the rain for hours after hitting her, and you suck, you have to do everything to make it up to her? Yeah. But I thought usually she doesn't indulge her to the point, usually, and most of the time she does a scene like that, where she says sorry. She's usually okay up until Maria starts going really hard on the oohs, and then she starts screaming at her, if you recall. Like, she'll be like, oh, you know, Mama's sorry, and then Maria's like, oh, okay, I like you, Mama. And she's like, don't ooh. Oh, Mama, so nice. Ooh. And she's like, Jesus fuck, shut up with the oohs. And, you know, then it gets way worse. That's how it's been like 2 or 3 times in a row. So it seems out of character. Not for her to start off being like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry I left you in the rain, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's all fine. It's the part where she's just like indulging in the oohs that makes it a little bit weird. Because that's usually what like gets her fucking going after Mario really hard. And she just like randomly, you know, didn't do it this time. Just like Kinzo randomly deciding to leave his study seems out of character for him. A bit strange, as he usually just ignores Chris for being a fucking idiot and leaves him. But maybe that's just a whim. That might just be whimsy. The Rosa one actually is like really silly because it doesn't seem in keeping with how her character acts when Mario goes ooh. All right. So a brilliant light poured from the depths of the diary, swallowing everything up and painting over everything with white. Does she have the exact scene in the diary? That would help her make it clear. Or painting over in white paints it black. Sorry, Mario.
ママね、緊急に片付けなきゃならない仕事が山積みで、ちょっと会社に缶詰にならなきゃならないの。
Mama has to take care of some urgent business that's piled up. I need to stay holed up at the company for a while.
あさっての深夜まで家に帰れないわ。
I probably won't be able to come back home until late at night the day after tomorrow.
おー、じゃあ日曜日の一緒に映画を見に行く約束は？
What about your promise to go to the movies with me on Sunday?
映画？
The movies? Judging by Rosa's tone, she clearly forgot the promise. But Mario's response to that was an apology for asking. I'm sorry. Mario apologized for troubling her mother by asking that question.
マリア、お留守番してる。
I'll stay
ちゃ
home.
んとお行儀よく待ってる。
I'll wait patiently.
毎日お風呂に入って新しい肌着にするよ。
I'll take a bath every day and change my
お金
underwear.
の場所も分かってる。
I know where the money is.
毎日違うお店に行くようにする。
I'll go to a different store
あ
every
んま
day.
り遅い時間に出かけないようにする。
I'll try not to go
お
too
まわ
late.
りさんに聞かれたら、ママのお使いですって言うようにする。
If a policeman asks, I'll say I'm running errands
ちゃ
for
んと
Mama.
ママに言われた通りに言うようにする。
I'll do what Mama says, just like she says.
そうね。ちゃんといい子にしてるのよ。
You really are being a good
そし
girl.
たらお土産を買ってきてあげるわ。
You do that, I'll buy you a
いい？
present. Okay?
夜は9時までに寝るのよ。
Go to bed
マ
right
マが
now.
帰ってこないなんて、先生にも大人にも言っちゃダメよ。
Don't tell the teacher or any adults Mama isn't coming home. Okay?
うん。だからママ、お仕事頑張ってね。
So Mama, do your best at
頑
work.
張ってお仕事終わらせて、少しでも早く帰ってきてね。
Do your best. Finish your work and come back as soon as you can.
マリア、もう夜中に泣いて、近所の人に迷惑なんかかけたりしないから。
I won't cry all night and annoy the neighbors anymore.
だから、早く帰ってきてね。
Come back quickly. Okay?
じゃ、忙しいので切るわよ。
Well then, I'm busy, so I guess I'll hang up.
いい子にして待ってるのよ。
Be a good girl and wait.
余計なことはしちゃダメよ。
Don't do anything you should.
じゃあね。
Bye. Click. And with a tone of finality in her voice, Rosa hung up the phone without waiting for Maria's answer. Maria politely set down the receiver and returned to the sofa. There sat the stuffed animal, Sakutaro, with whom she'd been watching TV until a second ago. Sakutaro was holding the remote control to the TV. The TV had been turned off because of the phone call, and he looked like he was telling her to push the switch because he wanted to watch TV again quickly.
Sakutaro.
Sakutaro?
テレビ見たい?
Wanna watch TV?
おりゅ? マリアはもう見たくないの?
You don't want to watch it anymore,
芸
Mario?
人チーム全問正解したら逆転かもしれない.
The actors team gets all the questions right, they can still make a huge comeback.
うん。
No.
もうテレビいいや.
That's enough TV. Again, Mama was busy with work and didn't come home. Mama works so much overtime she doesn't come home until late. Because she has dates or something, she always comes home after drinking a lot of alcohol, even though she's not good at drinking. And with a pale face, she'll go straight into the shower and then to bed. And because she has overtime even on weekends or something, she says she has to spend the night there and almost never comes home. Recently, she started saying something about how she's got a big job she's working on, and so this sort of thing happens a lot. The pictures I did my best on during drawing time were laughed at by everyone, but even so I want to show them just to Mama, and once again, she won't be able to look at them for me. What you say? On one hand, the younger than 9 and not particularly mature is too young to be alone for multiple days. On the other hand, people can be nosy about this. You had a stranger call a cop to check on you around this age because you were happily reading alone in a bookstore while your parents were shopping in their store over? Really? Okay. That's interesting. It is a little bit young to be left alone for a few days. Could probably have someone come and check on them here and there. It'd be nice if she had a friend who could do that. But I also understand that Rosa is a single mother and is busy. That's the assumption. She's a working single mother and can only do so much. But then again, she's from a rich family and they can borrow as much money as they want to make businesses work, so I'm not really sure how she can't afford to, say, have a babysitter once in a while. Or even someone check on them every couple days. Like, I don't know why she can't, how she can't afford that. Babysitters who come to your house was not really a thing in Japan in the 80s from your research? I see. Well, in that case, single mother and no options. So if she has to work, she has to work. Sucks to be Maria, but it's not like there's a realistic alternative. And I could talk about the time everyone pushed the job of cleaning up onto me, but I did my best by myself and was praised by the teacher. Or the time I went shopping and the man at the shop said I'm always such a good kid and gave me a free canned coffee. There was the time I wanted to encourage Mama because she worked so hard on her job and hid a card for her under her pillow.
他にもいっぱいお話ししたかった。
A lot of other things I wanted to talk about.
ママはお仕事をいっぱい頑張ってくれてるんだよ。
Mama's working really hard at her
毎
job.
日のご飯のために一生懸命働いてくれてるんだよ。
She's working with all of her strength so we can eat every day.
お仕事やだ。
I hate her job.
ママ、お仕事なんかやめちゃ
If
え。
only she'd just quit.
お仕事は大人の大切な仕事なんだよ。
I feel like making enough money, being a single person and making enough money for two people is pretty hard to do, depending on what your job is. But I mean, I thought all of them had businesses that were making money. They just suddenly had like some disaster hit them towards the time of this year's family conference. Yeah, good job is an important thing for adults
マリア
to
に
do.
ご飯を食べさせて、
It lets Maria eat.
お洋服を買って、
It buys clothes.
学校の給食費を払って、
Pays for school lunches.
サマーキャンプの積立金を払って、
Pays the deposit for
そ
summer
れは
camp.
みんなママが働いてお金を稼いでくれるからなんだよ。
All that happens because Mama works and earns money.
ご飯いらない。
I don't need food.
お洋服もいらない。
Don't need clothes. Yeah, it would work better if she had friends with neighbors who could check on her daughter every evening or something, but you don't think anyone in the family except Jessica and Battler have friends? Have many friends? I mean, it could just be that Rose is a workaholic, and it could be that she actually does need to work so many hours she doesn't know anyone. Like, we don't quite know that, right? She is, like, in charge of a company. And a lot of people who own companies are, like, the kind of people who would unironically want to work 120 hours a week if they could. Or if they thought it was more productive. And don't understand people who don't want to be working for them every hour of every day, especially when they're not getting paid overtime.
給食もいらないし、サマーキャンプなんか行きたくない。
Don't need school lunches. Don't want to go to
ど
summer
うせ
camp.
マリアをどこの班も混ぜてくれないもん。
Not like any of the groups will let me join in.
ウリュウ、ママはさっき電話でお仕事から帰ってきたらお土産を買ってきてくれるって約束
Just
して
now
く
on the
れた
phone.
よ。
Mama promised she'd buy a present when she comes back from
マ
work,
マは
right?
マリアのことが大事で寂しくさせてることを申し訳ないと思ってるから。
I think she made that promise because you're important to her,
そう
Mari.
いう約束をしてくれたんだと思うよ。
I feel bad if she made you lonely.
そうかな。
You think so?
ウリュウ、めんどくさかったり嫌だったりしたらそんなことはしないもん。
Definitely isn't a pain for her or
ママ
annoying
だ
or
って
anything.
マリアのそばにいつだっていたいんだよ。
Mama also wants to be by your side all the time,
そ
Mari.
れができなくてママも辛くて悲しい。
It's painful and sad for her because she can't do
マ
that.
マが泣きながらずっとマリアの隣にいて夜を過ごしてくれた日を僕は覚えてるよ。
I remember when she spent the whole night by your side crying.
うん。なんでママが泣いてるのかわからなかったけど、悲しむママが悲しくて。
I didn't understand why she was crying, but she was so sad.
ただマリアは黙ってママのそばにいることしか
I
で
couldn't
き
do
なかっ
anything but
た。
stay silent by your side.
あの時最後にママが言ったの僕は覚えてるよ。
I remember the last thing Mama said then.
マリアにありがとうって言った。
She said, "Thank you, Mari."
ただそばにいてくれるだけでマリアだけが世界でただ一人の味方なんだよって
She said by
マ
being
マは
by
言っ
your
てくれ
side.
た。
She said by being by your side, you're her only ally in the world.
ウリュウ、覚えてる？
Who are you? You remember?
うん。
Yeah.
マリアが世界でただ一人の味方なんだよって
I'm her only ally in the world.
ママ言った。
She said that. Sakutaro set the remote control on the table, crawled up onto the sofa, sat on my lap, and spoke to me, gazing into
マ
my
マ
eyes.
もきっとマリアと同じなんだよ。
I'm sure Mama feels the same way you do, Mario.
ママの描いたデザインだけがクライアントに笑われて、
The designs Mama draws are the only ones laughed at by her
マ
clients.
マの会社だけが他の会社から面倒な仕事を押し付けられて、
Only Mama's company has troublesome jobs pushed onto it by other companies.
ママは社長だから自分一人で片付けなくちゃならなくて、
Mama's the president, so she has to take care of everything by herself.
ママの会社だけがいつも他の会社の仕事に混ぜてもらえない。
My sympathies, my dude. Take care. Only Mama's company never gets included in the business of other
ママ
companies.
の味方はマリアだけなんだよ。
Mama's only ally is
そ
Mara.
のマリアがママにお仕事なんかやめちゃえなんて言ったら、
Tell her to stop doing her
マ
job.
マ
Where in
の
the
味
world
方
could she
は
find?
世界中のどこにいるの？サク太郎。僕には世界中でただ一人マリアがいる。
The only person I have in the whole world's Maria.
ママには世界中でただ一人マリアがいる。
The only person Mama has in the whole world is Maria.
マリアには
What about you, Maria?
ママもいるし、サク太郎もいる。
I've got Mama. I've got you too, Sakutaro.
だからマリアは寂しくなんかない。
So Maria, you aren't lonely at all.
ウリュウ、
cute Sakutaro. Sakutaro doing work.
ママはお仕事が忙しいから、なかなかマリアと一緒にいられないけど、マリアはどうかそれを責めないで。
His mom is busy with her work. She can't be together with you very often, but please don't blame her for that, Mario.
その代わり、僕はいつも一緒に、そしていつまでも一緒にマリアのそばにいるから。
In exchange, I'll always be here by your
だから
side
泣か
forever.
ないで。
I
ウ
see.
リュウ、
Don't cry, okay?
僕が一緒じゃ、悲しみを止められない？
Can't your sadness be stopped if I'm with you?
サクタロ。
The corner of Maria's heart, which she had been doing her best to seal up, drops of sadness finally dripped down. Drip, 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 drop, drop. Drip, drop, drip, drop. Even though weekends when Mama didn't come home weren't that rare a thing, it wasn't as though the night was particularly painful or sad compared to other nights. And yet Maria's tears poured down.
ウリュウ、マリア泣かないで。
Maria, don't
僕
cry.
がずっと一緒にいるから。
I'll be with
マリアが泣いても、僕は泣かない。
you. Even if you cry, Maria, I will.
僕はライオンの子だから、寂しくても泣かないよ。
I'm a lion club. I won't even cry if I'm
僕
lonely.
だって泣きたいけど、僕は泣かないんだもん。
Even though I want to cry too, I won't.
どうしてサクタロは泣かないの？
Why won't you cry now?
こんなに寂しくて、涙がこらえられなくても、泣かないの？
Even though you're so sad you can't hold back tears, you won't cry?
ウリュウ、だって僕が泣いたら、誰がマリアを慰めるの？
But if I cry, who will make you feel better?
だから僕は泣かない
I
よ。
won't.
だって、マリアに元気を出してもらいたいから。
Excellent. I want you to get your spirits
元
up.
気を出したら、ママは帰ってくるの？
If I get my spirits up, will Mama come back?
ママが帰ってきた時、元気なマリアで迎えてあげたら、ママはきっと喜ぶと思うな。
When Mama comes back, if she's welcomed by a happy Mario, I'm sure she'll be
ウリ
happy.
ュウ、ママは喜ぶ？
Mama will be happy?
ウリュウ、
Maybe, Mario, maybe.
そしたらきっと、お仕事の疲れも
Probably
きっ
doesn't
と癒されると思
Your
うよ。
presence probably doesn't have too much impact on that. It's more like how well things at work are going. If you do that, I'm sure fatigue from work will also be
そ
healed.
したらきっと、いつもより早く元気になってくれて、
But I'm sure
マリアともいっぱい遊んでくれると思うな。
I'm sure she'll start feeling better sooner and we'll play with you a lot.
マリアがママの待ってるお家へ帰ってきた時、ママが上機嫌で台所にいたら、すごく幸せな気持ちになるでしょ？
You come home and Mama's waiting for you there and she's in the kitchen in high spirits. Don't you feel happy?
ママもきっと同じだよ。
Sure, Mama feels the same.
マリアがご機嫌でお留守番してたら、ママも幸せになるかな。
If I watch over the house in high spirits, Mama will be happy too.
ウリュウ！
Sakutaro nodded deeply with his big head. The tears couldn't keep falling from Maria's eyes. If she greeted Mama with a tear-stained face, Mama would probably get sad too.
マリアは知ってるよ。
You know about it,
笑
Mario.
顔を呼ぶ魔法は、自分も笑わなきゃできないってこと。
You can't use the magic that creates smiles if you aren't smiling too.
マリアは知ってるよ。
Yeah, I know.
だからもう泣かない。
I won't cry anymore.
ねえ、マリア。
Mario needs more head pats, guys. More head pats for Mario. Could probably run to, could run for the Senate or Congress. Or your local member of parliament on that premise. Give Mario head pats. Hey, Mario?
僕から楽しく過ごす提案があるよ。
I have an idea of how to have a fun
ウ
time.
リュウ、聞いてくれる？
Wanna hear it?
何？
What?
ママが日曜日の深夜まで帰ってこないから、
Mom won't come home until late Sunday.
だからママに内緒のパジャマパーティーをして遊ぼうよ。
Let's have a pajama party and keep it a secret from Mama.
パジャマパーティー？
Pajama party?
今夜は眠くなるまでベッドの中でお菓子を食べたりジュースを飲んだりしながら僕と遊ぶの。
Until you get tired late tonight, eat candy and drink soda in bed and play with me.
パジャマパーティー？
Pajama party.
楽しそう。
Sounds fun.
9時に寝なくていいの？
I don't have to go to bed at 9, right?
寝ないとママに怒られない？
Mama will get mad at me if I don't sleep.
ママがいない時だけの僕とマリアの秘密。
A secret between me and you, only for when Mama is.
だから今夜はマリアが眠くなるまでずっと僕たちで楽しく過ごそう。
So tonight, until you get sleepy, let's have fun the whole
ジェ
time.
リービーンズを食べながら次は何の色を引くか当てっこして遊ぼう。
Let's eat jelly beans and try to guess what color we'll get.
ピーナッツを割ってどっちがおじいさんか当てて遊ぼう。
We'll split open peanuts and try to guess which half is the
クロ
grandpa.
ーゼットの中を宝探ししよう。
We'll search for treasure in the
他にも
closet.
他にも。オレンジジュースとメロンジュースを合わせたらどんな味になるかな。
What's it taste like if we mix cola and melon soda?
おお、いっぺんやってみたかったけどママにやっていいって聞いたらダメって怒られた。
I wanted to try it once, but Mama said it was. I'd asked Mama if it was okay, and she got mad.
ブリュー、ママに内緒で実験してみよう。
Let's keep it a secret from Mama and try it out.
今夜はいっぱい遊んでいっぱい笑って涙を元気で吹き飛ばしちゃおう。
Tonight, let's play, laugh a lot, and blow away our tears with happiness. Sakutaro seems to be a good friend.
大丈夫。
If only he
僕と
wasn't
一緒だから
fictitious
絶対に楽しいよ。
and a stuffed animal. Don't worry, it'll definitely be fun if I'm here.
僕が絶対にマリアを幸せにしてあげるから。
I'll make you happy, Mario.
サクタロと一緒なら絶対に楽しいよ。
It'll definitely be fun if Sakutaro is there. Yeah,
絶対に幸せになれるよ。
I'll be
あ
happy.
りがとうサクタロ。
Thank you, Sakutaro.
もう泣かないね。
I won't cry
と
anymore.
びきり楽しく二人で過ごして思いっきり元気になってママをおかえりなさいって迎えちゃ
Let's play all we can, get happy all we can, and say welcome back when Mama gets home.
おう。うりゅー、今夜はいっぱい遊んでいっぱいご機嫌になっちゃおう。
Today, let's play a lot and feel
マ
better.
マがいない夜にしか遊べない秘密のパーティーでいっぱい遊ぼう。
Let's have the kind of secret party we can only have when Mama's not here.
僕たちが賑やかにしてたらきっと鏡の国や不思議の国からたくさんの友達が遊びに来るよ。
Start sweating nervously. If we're loud enough, I'm sure plenty of friends will come to play from the land of the looking glass in Wonderland. Uh-oh.
そしたらもう僕たちはお友達でいっぱいで退屈なんかできなくなっちゃう。
We'll have so many friends we won't be able to get
うりゅ
bored.
ー、うりゅー。
And then Maria began her pajama party all alone with Sakutaro, having fun until late into the night. She played by sticking her hand into the bag of jelly beans without looking, trying to guess which color she'd pull out next. Sakutaro had good intuition and got it right a lot. Maria had a brilliant streak when she guessed right 4 times in a row. The game where she splits peanut opens and tried to guess which one's the grandpa was easier than guessing the color of the jelly beans, so she got it right a lot. Sucking her salt-covered fingers was impolite, but that was the yummiest part. She liked both the cola and melon soda on their own, and she hoped by mixing her 2 favorite drinks there might be a flash of light like alchemy, and a new drink no one had tasted before would be created. She got excited about how if it turned out really delicious she'd call it Sakutaro soda and sell it. But unexpectedly it had a weird taste she hadn't hoped for, and the color was somewhat dull and thick. Maybe I shouldn't have been surprised that black and green mixed together would make this. Too bad. I imagined it'd be a sparkling pineapple color. I'm not sure how you'd arrive at black and green, great pineapple, but hey, whatever, you're 9 years old, I guess. It was an awesome, incredible fun night. If it's this fun here, maybe Mama will feel like coming home and drop by out of the blue. So I got the feeling Mama might suddenly come home and went to the front door many times to check. But there was no way Mama would come home when she was this busy with work. But rather than a feeling of loneliness, it just felt a little disappointing that Mama couldn't join in on this fun late-night party. Sometime soon. I'll do it when Mama's around and let her join in. Mom likes some things I don't think are yummy, so maybe she'll really like Sakutaro soda. When she comes back tired, I'll serve her some. And more than anything, I want to at least write about this fun night in a letter and tell Mama about it. I like how she's like, yeah, I didn't like Sakutaro soda, I thought it was disgusting, but I'll give it to my mom and see if she likes it, because she has shit taste. What a line. Alright. These feelings of happiness will reach Mama too. Her work's always tough and she sometimes comes home so tired. I hope I can share this happiness with her. Mom will almost certainly come home tired late Sunday night, and I hope I can brighten her day even a little by sharing this happiness. I gently placed that letter on Mama's desk. To Mama, good job with your work again today. Let me share my happiness with you. From Maria. Then I decided to give a present to Sakutaro for proposing this wonderful party. It was a small red muffler I found when searching for treasure in the closet. When I was young, Mom knitted this tiny thing. Mario was embroidered on it with knitting wool. I softly wrapped the muffler around Sakutaro. It really suited him, accenting his yellow with red very well.
Uryu.
Does it look good on me? Sakutaro looked embarrassed as he wore his first present ever. Yeah, it really looks good on him.
Sakutaro, いつも本当にありがとう。
Sakutaro, thank you so much for
こん
everything.
なにも楽しい夜になったよ。
It was so much fun
ど
tonight.
うしてマリアは泣いてたのか、もう思い出せないくらい。
I can't even remember
こ
why I
れ
was
から
crying.
も一緒にいよ
Let's be together from
う
now
ね。そ
on.
していつも楽しく遊んで
We'll
笑
always
っていよ
play
うね。
and laugh together.
うりゅう。マリア大好き。
Love you, Mario.
マリアもだよ。サクタロ大好き。
Love you, Sakutaro. Sakutaro, the second nicest character in this whole series. Alright, after playing so wildly, Maria's room was a mess. Maybe she played a little too much. But I'm tired for today, so let's sleep together. And tomorrow we'll clean up together and welcome Mama with a clean room. Right, Sakutaro? Yeah.
ね。
See?
マリアは、マリアとサクタロはこんなにも幸せだよ。
I am. No, we are so happy, right?
これがマリアお姉ちゃんの幸せなの？
Is this your happiness, Mario One-chan?
うん。
Yeah.
マリアは幸せ。
I'm happy.
ローザおばさんはあんなにも楽しみにして絶対だよと約束した映画の約束を完全に忘れてた。
Even though you were looking forward to that movie so much and Aunt Rosa promised she'd definitely take you, she completely forgot.
お仕事で忙しかったからたまたま忘れちゃったんだよ。
She forgot because she's so busy with work.
仮に覚えてたとしてもお仕事じゃどうしようもない。
Even if she remembered with her work, there'd be nothing she could do.
覚えてても覚えてなくてもどちらにせよママはお仕事でお泊まり。
Whether or not she remembered, she would have spent the night at work.
映画には行けなかった。
She couldn't go to the movies.
約束を覚えてたかどうかなんて些細な問題だよ。
Whether she remembered or not's a minor issue. There's no way that's a minor issue. After all, when Aunt Rosa answered movie on the phone, it was obvious she completely forgot her promise, and when she heard that, Mario One-chan's mood definitely darkened.
確かにマリアお姉ちゃんの言う通り、
Well, like you
ロー
say,
ザおばさんが約束を覚えていたとしても結局映画には行けなかった。
even if Aunt Rosa had remembered her promise, you wouldn't have been able to go to the movies in the end.
でもそれでも
Even
お
so,
母さんとのささやかな休日を過ごす約束を一方的に忘れられていたなんて悲しい。
think your mother just forgot her promise to spend one of her few days off with you. It's sad.
私なら怒る。
I'd be mad.
うん。
Yeah.
悲しかったよ。
It was
た
sad.
とえ覚えててくれたとしても映画には行けなかったわけだから。
Because even if she remembered, we wouldn't have been able to go to the movies.
でも私はその後サクタロととても楽しく夜を過
But
ごし
after
た。
that, I had a very, very fun night with Sakutaro.
エンジェもパジャマパーティーがすっごく楽しそうだって思っ
You must have
た
thought
は
the
ず。
pajama party looked fun too, Ange.
楽しいわけなんかない。
There's no way that would be fun.
だってこの夜のマリアお姉ちゃんのはしゃぎぶりは
I mean, all the messing around you
お
did
母
that
さん
night?
が帰ってこなくて寂しくてそれを忘れるためにわざと空騒ぎをしただけじゃない。
NJ on the verge of tears. Alright. All that messing around you did last night was just intentionally making a big fuss about nothing so you could forget you were lonely and your mother wasn't coming home?
違うよ。
Not true.
サクタロと本当に楽しくパーティーをしたんだよ。
But I really did have a fun party with Sakutaro.
いいえ違う。
That's wrong.
お姉ちゃんは悲しくて約束を忘れてたお母さんが憎くて部屋で暴れただけじゃない。
You were just so sad and you hated your mother so much for forgetting her promise, you made a mess of your room?
そんなことマリアの日記のどこに書いてあったの？
Something like that ever written in my diary?
書いてはいない。
It's not written
で
anywhere.
もこの一行飛ばしで書いてある行間からお姉ちゃんの気持ちがわかるの。
But by reading in the gaps between every line, I can understand your
お姉
feelings.
ちゃんはこの夜を楽しくなんか過ごさなかった。
You didn't have a good time at all that evening. Why would she write that she had a lot of fun in her diary if she didn't have fun?
それで言いつけを破って夜更かしをし、おやつの時間以外には食べてはいけないと厳しく言われていたルールを破ってお菓子を食べ、
You stayed up late when you were told not to. You broke the strict rule about eating sweets outside of snack time.
それでも悲しみが埋められなくて、部屋の中で暴れて散らかしただけじゃない。
And when even that didn't bury your sadness, you went wild in your room and made a mess of it, right?
そして部屋中を散らかして疲れ切って、
After you made a mess of your room and
そ
were
のま
tired
ま
out,
ベッドのシーツをかきむしりながら泣き疲れて眠っただけ。
all you did was claw at the bed sheets and cry yourself to sleep, right?
日記には確かにママが映画の約束を忘れてたらしいこと。
The diary does say Mama probably forgot her promise about the movie.
そして私が夜更かしをしてサクタロとパジャマパーティーをして宝探しで部屋を散らかしてしまったと書かれてる
And
ね。
does say I stayed up late having a pajama party with Sakutaro and made a mess of my room searching for treasure.
ええ、
Yes.
それはつまり
That's
そういうことじゃない。マリアお姉ちゃんはローザおばさんの愛に飢えていた。
You were starving for Rosa's love, Mario Oneshan.
そしてローザおばさんは自分の仕事や世間体ばかりを優先していつもお姉ちゃんを後回しにしていた。
Aunt Rosa always put her work and her public image first, keeping you on the back burner.
だから虫唾が走るのよ。
That's what disgusts
ロー
me.
ザおばさんのお姉ちゃんのことを愛しているという言葉がどれほど上辺だけのものか知っているから。
I know just how superficial Aunt Rosa's words of love for you were.
お姉ちゃんだって知ってるはず。
You should realize this yourself.
なのになんで自分は幸せだなんて言えるの？
How can you say you're happy despite
マ
that?
リアお姉ちゃんのそのあたりが私にはわからない。
I don't understand that part of you, Mario Oneshan.
この年になってもさっぱり理解できない。
At my age, I can't
どう
understand
して
it at all.
悲しくないの？
How aren't you sad?
どうして不幸な現実を知りながら自分は幸せだなんて言えるの？
Why is it you experience a reality filled with misfortune and call yourself happy?
私にはできない。わからない。
I can't understand it.
エンジェは悲しい子だね。
You're a sad kid, Ange.
わけわかんない。
Getting pitied by a 9-year-old feels bad. I don't get it.
どうして私が哀れまれな
Why
け
are
れ
you
ばならないの？
pitying me?
私の日記にはこんなにも楽しくパジャマパーティーの事実が記されているのに、
Even though a fact about a really fun pajama party is written about in my
同
diary,
じ事実も異なる人間が観測すると異なる姿になってしまうんだね。
if the same fact is observed by different people, it has a different form. I remember talking about something like this with Bern Castell. The truth is unfixed and changes its form every time it's witnessed. By the way, it's perceived, in other words, depending on the person who perceives it, a single truth becomes different truths, and the truths of the past are painted over by truths of the future.
マリアはこの日記でこの夜の出来事をとても楽しかったと記した。
In this diary, I wrote that what happened that night was very, very fun.
マリアお姉ちゃんはこの夜の出来事をとても幸せだったと記述し
You
た。
described the events of that night as something very happy.
なのに日記を読んだエンジェはこの夜の出来事をとても悲しかったと読んだ。
And yet, when you read the diary, the events of that night sound very, very sad.
マリアお姉ちゃんは幸せだと記述したのに、私はそうではないと読み解いた。
Even though you describe it as a happy scene, I read between the lines and realize that wasn't true.
やめて。
I feel like there's a good argument for you not to do that here, NJ. And the reasoning is that Rosa, by your assumption and the amount of neglect you're seeing, it's incredibly unlikely that Rosa would ever sit down and read Maria's diaries, so she has no concern for whether or not her mother's gonna read it, so she can probably put whatever she wants in it. It's like, Mama's not gonna read it anyway, so I'll just put whatever I actually feel in it and not care. Right? There's a nice argument that takes the depressing view. It's like if you're like, yeah, your mom doesn't care, she's too busy and prioritizes other stuff with you, why would she ever take her time to read your diary or sneak it when she could just not do it because it would require effort and her going out of her way to do something that Maria wouldn't appreciate. Like, those are all things you would never care to do if you're so uninvolved in Maria's life. So you can assume that She probably put something that at least seems true to her, right?
これは幸せな夜を記したものなの。
This tells of a
これ
happy
が
night.
この夜の真実。
And this is the truth
お
of that.
願いだからその幸せな真実を
Don't take this happy truth
新しい、そして異なった真実で塗りつぶさないで。
and paint over it with a new, different truth.
マリアお姉ちゃんにはこれで
Are you happy with this,
幸せなの？
Maria One-chan?
うん、
Yeah.
幸せ。だから
I'm happy.
同じ境遇の時、幸せに感じられないエンジェがかわい
And
そ
that's
う。
why I feel sad for you, because you wouldn't be able to feel happiness in a similar situation. Right now, I'm like she was then, just as isolated with no friends. Ange had accepted her isolated reality for what it was, but Maria painted over her isolated reality with a reality of happiness. Shiromiya Maria took a sad truth and changed it into happiness. That was the only and yet very large difference between me and Maria One-chan. Even though I'm unable to accept it, I'm also jealous of that power.
うん、そうなの。
That's
そ
right.
れは力なの。
This is
そ
power.
の力があるマリアは幸せになれて、
I was able to find happiness
そ
with
の
that
力
power.
がないエンジェは幸せになれない。
Because you don't have that power, you can't find happiness, NJ.
その力は
What is
何なの？
that power?
マリアもその力を何と呼ぶかわからなかった。
I didn't know what to call that
こ
power.
の
either.
時点ではね。
Not at this point in
や
time,
が
at least.
てその正体を教えてもらうの。
Eventually, I was taught its true form.
後に話すよ。
I'll talk about it later.
後のページで。
On the next
そし
page.
てそして日曜日の深夜、
So then, late Sunday
ママ
night,
は約束通りお土産を持って帰ってきた。
Mom came back with a present just like she promised. Oh, okay.
ただい
I
ま。
was thinking we'd fade back to meta line, but we're back. We're continuing this story. Okay, I'm back.
おかえりー。
Mama,
ママ帰ってきた。ママ帰ってきた。
Mama came back. Mama came back. Waiting to greet Rosa as she returned home all tired out was Maria in an unbelievably good mood holding Sakutaro. Most likely, Rosa's worn-out expression was partly because she was really tired, but partly because it'd be a pain when Maria, who should have been grumbling after staying home for several days, would cling to her sobbing. However, when she was welcomed by an unbelievably happy Maria and found that her fears were unbelievably needless, Rosa couldn't hide her surprise.
どうしたのマリア？
What's going
と
on,
ても
Maria?
ご機嫌ね。
You're in a great
誰
mood.
か来ているの？
Is someone there? It was strange enough to make Rosa think that a friend had come over, that she'd come home right when they were having a good time playing together. But there was no other shoes by the entrance. Even though Maria was in such high spirits, she'd been home alone. At first, Rosa was suspicious that the cause of this unexpected good mood would be nothing good. But that was a needless fear, and in any event, Maria really had been in a good mood while she watched over the house. Even if Rosa's heart had been as cold and hard as rock after being welcomed with a smile like this, Rosa started to honestly accept it with a smile. Or accept that smile, and a small smile rose to her face automatically. In that smile, you could no longer see any of the weariness of someone who'd been unable to return home for several days. Maria kept talking about what a fun time she'd had playing with her stuffed animal, Sakutaro. Rosa hadn't really imagined that the stuffed animal she herself had given would be so appreciated, and she couldn't hide her pleased surprise.
さあ、
I see.
サク太郎と一緒に仲良くお留守番していたのね。
So you spent the time together with
偉いわ
Sakutaro.
マリア。
Well done, Maria.
そんな偉いマリアとサク太郎にお土産があるわよ。
Here's a present for Maria and Sakutaro for being so good.
お土産。
A present?
お土産。なんだろうね。
What is it? Both Maria and Sakutaro started jumping around. There were two presents. One contained an assortment of Western sweets. Inside was a Scotch cake. It looked to be of very high quality, but Maria was more interested in the other one. The other one was an even bigger box, and it was pretty heavy. Ooh, what's Maria getting?
開けてごらん。
Go ahead.
マリア
Noah.
とサク太郎の新しいお友達になれるかもね。
They might become new friends for you and Sakutaro, okay?
何これ。
What's this? Inside, laid there like chess pieces, were about 20 small ceramic figures shaped like animals. Squirrels, rabbits, small birds, dogs, and cats. And they were all holding musical instruments. In addition to them, there was also a panorama-style background. A forest scene was drawn on it. The small forest animals were gathered in a plaza that looked like They were having a good time. Rosa set it up on the table, and when she lined up the ceramic figures like chess pieces in front of it, it became a band of forest animals.
素敵でしょ?
Isn't it
お店
wonderful?
のショーウィンドウで見て一目惚れしちゃったの。
I saw it in a store window and I was taken with it at a
これを
glance.
いい子でお留守番してたマリアにプレゼントするわ。
It's a present for you being such a good girl home alone, Mario.
ありがとう、ママ。
Thank you, Mama.
すごいね、サクタロウ。
Awesome,
お友達がこんなに増えちゃったね。
Look how much our friends have
サク
grown.
タロウの言う通りだった。
It's like you said,
楽しく
Sakutaro.
賑やかに過ごしてたらお友達が増えちゃうって本当だった。
It's true, if we had a fun, noisy time, we'd get more friends.
ね、言った通りでしょ。
Didn't I
ほ
tell
ら
you?
ね、お友達が増えた。ほらね、お友達が増えた。
Look, we have more friends. We have more
うり
friends.
ゅー。
Relieved her gift had been appreciated, Rosa remembered she'd been filled with several days of weariness.
ママ、本当にお疲れ様。
Mama, you worked
シャ
really
ワ
hard.
ー浴びてくるといいよ。
I'll take a shower.
あったかいの浴びるときっと疲れが取れるよ。
If you take a hot one, I'm sure your weariness
湯
will
船
go
にす
away.
る？
Want a bath?
マリアが今日は入浴剤を選んであげるね。
I'll choose what to put in the bath today.
ありがとう。でも、もう遅いから、マリアは寝る支度をなさい。
Get ready to go to bed.
ママも疲れたから、シャワーだけ浴びてすぐ寝るわ。
Mama's tired. I'll just take a shower and go
明
to
日も
sleep.
早いし。
I have to get up early tomorrow.
わかった。
Yeah,
はい、
got
ママ。
it.
コート脱がしてあげる。
Here, Mama, I'll take your coat off.
大丈夫だってば。
I can do it by myself.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
ママのコート、お外の匂いがいっぱいする。
Mama, your coat's full of smells from outside.
あ、ごめん。何か落とした。
Sorry, something
拾
fell
うね。
out. I'll pick it up, okay? When she took Rosa's coat, a receipt or ticket stub or something fell out. It had been in Mama's pocket, so it was probably important. Maria hurriedly picked it up. It looked like a ticket for the green car or the Shinkansen or something. Tommy? Wasn't that a place famous for its hot springs? At that moment, with a razor-sharp sound, the warm atmosphere shattered. Instead of the Rosa who'd been there just a second ago, enjoying the gift with her daughter, and recovering from her weariness with a long-awaited return home, there stood a person who looked exactly the same, but had a completely different, terrifying expression on her face. In her hand was the ticket stub Maria had picked up. She stole it from Maria's hand in an instant. Just a few seconds too late, by the pain of her hand that had been hit. And by her mother's expression, Maria realized she must have done something wrong. But she didn't know what she'd done that had gotten her in trouble. It was probably because of that ticket stub-like thing. Was she not supposed to touch it? I think we can blame Rosa for this one. Throw out your receipts or don't take receipts. Even though she had tried so hard to welcome Mama with fun and happiness, she touched something important to Mama without asking and ruined the pleasant atmosphere. So Maria apologized immediately.
ごめんなさい。
Sorry. Even though she must have heard those words of apology, Rosa's expression actually darkened. Maybe those weren't the words she'd been hoping for. Maria didn't know what to do and stared at her mother's reaction. Then, even though it should have been such an important ticket stub, Rosa crushed it up and hurried off to her room. Maria didn't really understand what she'd done wrong.
マリア、きっと
Must
余計
have
なことをしたんだね。
done something I
あ
shouldn't
の
have.
紙はきっとママのお仕事の大切なものだったんだね。
Paper must have been something important for Mama's work.
それに勝手に触っちゃった
I
から。
touched it without asking.
ウリュウ、マリアは悪くないよ。
You didn't do anything
だ
wrong,
から
Mom.
今夜だってこんなにも幸
That's why tonight was so happy.
せ。幸せ。
Happy.
ママだってお風呂に入ってすっきりしたらいつもの優しいママに戻ってくれるよ。
Sakutaro. Sakutaro with the copium. And when Mama takes a bath and clears her head, she'll go back to being the normal, nice
だ
Mama.
から気にしちゃダメ。
You mustn't worry
ウ
about
リ
it.
ュウ。そうだね。
Right.
ママだって疲れてるんだもん
Mama's
ね。
tired too.
気にしちゃダメだね。
Mustn't worry about
今
it.
夜だってマリアたちはこんなにも幸せ。
After all, we were so happy tonight.
もうやめてよ。
Just stop it.
見てられない。
I can't watch this.
エンジェは 幸せの見つけ方が間違ってると
I
思う
think you're
よ。
looking for happiness in the wrong way.
間違ってるのはお姉ちゃんでしょ。
You're the one who's wrong,
俺
Onisha.
のどこが幸せだっての
How do
よ。
you call this happiness?
痛々しくて見てられない。
So pitiful, I can't watch anymore.
何が？ママが急に怒り出したこと？
That mama suddenly got
人
mad.
間、疲れていればそういうこともあるものだ
It
よ。
happens sometimes when humans get
一
tired.
時の感情のすれ違いだけで相手を全否定するのって、エンジは大人じゃないと思うよ。
Condemning a person because of a momentary misplaced emotion isn't very adult of you, Ange. Ange's
9歳
18.
のマリアお姉ちゃんに言われるとはね。
Can't believe I'm hearing this from a 9-year-old.
でもそんなことじゃないでしょ。
not
も
the
う
problem.
お姉ちゃんが拾ったあの判件、明らかにおかしいじゃない。
I take it stuff you picked up was clearly strange.
何が？
What was?
何もおかしくないし、今夜の幸せと何も関係ないよ。
There was nothing strange about it. It has nothing to do with the happiness of that night, right?
ローザおばさんは仕事で会社に泊まり込むって電話してきたんでしょ。
Aunt Rosa called because she'd been staying over at her company because of work,
なん
right?
で熱海？
Why a
それっ
Tommy?
て旅行でしょ。
Isn't that what you call a
マリアお
vacation?
姉ちゃんを置き去りにして旅行に行ってたってことでしょ。
She left you and went on a vacation,
し
right?
かも普通旅行って言ったら一人では。
And you normally don't go on a vacation by yourself.
あれが仮に熱海行きの件だったとしても、
Even if it was a ticket for a
だから
Tommy.
ってママが嘘をついて旅行に行った証拠にはならないよ。
That alone doesn't make it proof that Mama lied and went on a vacation, right?
電話で嘘をついてあんなにも形相を変えて奪い取って。
She lied on the phone and then changed her expression so drastically and grabbed it.
何よりの証拠じゃない。
What more proof do you want?
昔の仕事で出張した時のものかもしれないよ。
Might have been it from a business trip long
あ
ago,
るい
right?
はゴミか何かをたまたまポケットに入れちゃっただけかも。
She happened to pick up some trash and put it in her pocket.
部下の人が出張した時の領収書かもしれないね。
Might have been a receipt from someone who worked up for her who went on a
だ
business
った
trip.
ら仕事の大切なもの、
It might be important for her
お
work.
もちゃじゃないんだか
In
ら
that case.
ママが取り上げたのもうなずけるよ。
It wasn't a toy. I can understand why Mama took it
エ
away.
ンジェの言う証拠なんて単なる状況証拠、
Evidence you're talking about is purely
想
circumstantial.
像と妄想。
Imagination and delusions.
どうしてマリアとママの仲が悪くなるように解釈するのかわからないよ。
I don't know why you're interpreting it in a way that makes our relationship worse.
どうしてお姉ちゃんがそこまでローザおばさんの都合がいいように解釈できるかの方がわからない。
You're having a serious argument with a 9-year-old. Even worse, a 9-year-old in your head, Ange. I'm the one who doesn't understand why you're interpreting it in such a way that's so convenient for Aunt Rosa.
やっぱりエンジェはかわいそうな子。
As I thought, you're a pitiable child,
君
Ange.
を幸せにしてくれるかけらは
Even though there's so many fragments lying about you that can make you
こ
happy,
んなにもたくさん
you can't
身
find
の
them.
回りに。なのに不幸せなかけらばかり見つけてしまって傷つき続けている。
Instead, you only look at unhappy fragments and continue getting
だ
hurt.
からエンジェは傷つくことに怯え、
That's why you're scared of being
傷つ
hurt.
けるものが身の回りにないかどうか、それを確かめ終わるまで幸せ探しすら始められない。
You only start looking for happiness after you check to make sure there's nothing around that could hurt you.
お姉ちゃんと話をしてるとおかしいのがどっちかわからなくなってくるわ。
When I talk with you, One-chan, it gets hard to tell which of us isn't making sense.
あのね、
You know what?
幸せのかけらも不幸せのかけらもどちらもいっぱいあって世
Lots
界
of
を満
happy
たして
and
るの。
unhappy fragments. They fill the world up.
だから身近の幸せが見つけられない人はどこまで探しに行っても見つけられない。
People who can't find happiness right beside them won't be able to find it no matter how hard
チ
they
ル
look.
チルとミチルが青い鳥を探したみたいに。
Like Chil-Chil and Matil looking for the bluebird?
そうね。
Right.
そういう教訓の話だった。
Moralizing story?
エ
Okay.
ンジェはその正反対。
You're the opposite, NJ.
不幸せなかけらが全くない世界を探してる。
You search for a world without a fragment of
でも
unhappiness.
それだって青い鳥と同じなんだよ。
That's the same as the
だから
bluebird.
永遠にエンジェは自
You'll
分の
never
幸
find
せ
your
を見つけられ
happiness
ない。
for all eternity.
バトラはヘンゼルなの？
Is Battler handsome?
青い鳥なんじゃないの？
Or is he the bluebird?
もういい加減にして。
Give it a rest
いずれ
already.
にせよ幸せな夜がコートから落ちた一枚の紙切れで台無しになったことはよく
In
わか
any
った
event,
わ。
I understand a night of happiness is wasted because of a single scrap of paper.
怖いね。
Sure is scary.
一枚の紙切れで。
That a single scrap of paper could do
な
that.
ら幸せを取り戻す力も 一枚の紙切れに
In that case,
宿れるかもしれないよね。
maybe the power to get your happiness back can also lie in a single scrap of paper, right? Just when she finally been able to communicate with Mari after so long, Rose's face twisted with a mixture of anger, sadness, and a fierce self-hatred as she flew into her room and closed the door. Maria's sword had sliced into her chest sharper than a knife. At that time, she noticed a cute envelope placed on her study table. It was probably something that had come with a girl's magazine. Mama, let me share my happiness with you, it said. She took it and after hesitating, opened it and read what was inside. After letting 2 large tears drip down on the paper, she flew out of the room, hugged Maria from behind as she headed for the bathroom, buried her face into her daughter's back, and cried. Then realizing that she was the one who should be apologizing, she apologized. Why is Mama apologizing? Well, there was no answer to that question.
ほら、もう仲直り。あんなの、ママとマリアの仲良しの前には全然気にすることないんだよ。
Something like that was nothing to worry about because of the friendship Mama and I share.
私にはマリアお姉ちゃんの幸せは辛すぎる。
Your happiness is too painful, Mario One-chan.
エンジェの気持ちも一応は理解するよ。
I understand how you feel more or less.
マリアだってこの力に気づくまでは
Before I realized I had that
今
power.
のエンジェと同じで不幸なかけらしか見つけられない気の毒な子だったから。
Even I was a pitiful child who could only find fragments filled with misfortune like you are now.
その力って何？
What is that power?
私になくてお姉ちゃんにはある。
Power you don't have, but you do. I don't have, but you do. Relentless
そ
optimism.
してそれがないから私は不幸でお姉ちゃんは幸福だというの？
You saying I'm unfortunate and you're blessed because I don't have it?
力という抽象的な表現でしか理解できないそれは一体どんな力なの？
What is the thing you can't describe except with an abstract word like power?
うん。エンジェはそれが知りたいんだよね。
You want to know that,
だから
Ange?
私の物語をここまで読み進めてきたんだ
That's
も
why
ん
you've
ね。
been reading my story so
も
far.
ちろんだよ。教えこの力の秘密を。
I'll show you the secret to that power.
そして私は昔幼いエンジェにちゃんと教えてあげたんだよ。
It's something I taught you about long ago when you were little,
忘
right?
れちゃってる？
Did you forget?
大丈夫。思い出せるよ。
I remember.
今から私が、
Now I...
彼女が
No,
教
she.
えてあげる。
She'll teach you.
彼女？
See?
誰？
わらわがそれをマリアに代わって教えよう。
I shall teach you in Maria's place.
ベアトリーチェ。
Beatrice.
マリアにはあってそなたにはない力。
Power Maria has, but you do not.
うん。マリアにあって、エンジェにない力。
Power I have, but Ange doesn't. It's magic. Maria and Beato said it together. Then they started giggling because they said it at the same time. It was an innocent reaction, one that didn't seem like Beato at all. Back to Beato's prison complex. Yeah, she would have almost turned into discharge. 21. Yeah. Black tea was arranged on a table in a peaceful garden, and Beato, Mari, and Sakutaro, who was sitting on Mari's lap, were having fun chatting.
ほう、そうか。サク太郎と申すか。
He's called Sakutaro.
そなたの一番の友人とな。
Oh, this is your best friend.
ウリュウ、はじめまして。サク太郎と申します。
Sakutaro.
おう、サク太郎は人見知りするから緊張してるの。
Sakutaro's shy, but so he's nervous.
大丈夫だよ。ベアトリーチェもマリアの素敵なお友達なんだよ。
Okay, Beatrice is also a great friend of
ウ
mine.
リュウ、マリアの友達は僕も友達？
Are Mari's friends my friends?
うん。ウリュウ。じゃあ、僕もベアトリーチェの友達？
Am I Beatrice's friend too?
ウリュウ。
マリアにとってはこのようなことは日常においてよくあることなのか？
Maria, does something like this happen frequently for you in your everyday life?
お？何 が？
What?
このように無機物に魔法の魂を込め生を宿らせることは
Is breathing a spirit of magic into inorganic matter and giving it life like
そな
this
たの日常においては左半時なのか？
commonplace in your everyday life?
おお、サクタロは無機物じゃないよ。ライオンの子だよ。
Sakutaro isn't inorganic matter, he's a
う
lion
りゃ
cub.
ぬいぐるみはよりしろとして優秀だ。
Stuffed animal makes for an excellent vessel.
ゆえに
What is this
毒
roof
を持た
wall
ぬ無
here
垢
we
な子
have?
供が話しかけることによってそれに応えようとする精霊が宿ることが少なく
Not
ない。
uncommon for spirits to be made to reside in them when they're spoken to by innocent children with no toxin. According to Beatrice, every time a child plays with dolls, the dolls actually gain a will and converse with them, sometimes even moving by their own will. However, because of their innocence, the power imbued into such a vessel is very weak. If they get struck with even a tiny bit of toxic from a human's common sense, which says there's no way a doll can talk or move, they instantly revert to being non-speaking dolls.
しかしそなたのそのサク太郎というぬいぐるみは違
However,
う。
this Sakutaro doll, stuffed animal of yours is different.
サクタロはぬいぐるみだけど、ぬいぐるみじゃない。
Sakutaro's a stuffed animal, but he isn't one.
うりゅう、ライオンの子。
I'm a lion cub.
うりゅう。サクタロはライオンの子だけど、まだ子供だから時々ガオって言えないの。
Sakutaro's a lion cub, but he's still a kid, so he can't say "gow" sometimes.
うりゅうりゅうりゅう。うりゅうりゅうりゅう。
He has to get Mare, who is playing around with Sakutaro by the table, loaded with tea. Beatrice let out a sigh of admiration.
なんということか。
How incredible.
サク太郎とやらはその布地と綿のよりしろを核に完全に人間界に権限している。
With a cloth and cotton vessel as a shell has completely materialized into the
自
human
ら
world.
の人格を持ち召喚者と自在に対話をし
He has his own personality. He talks with the summoner
し
freely.
かも自らの意志で
And
動
he
いて
even moves by his own will.
しかもさらに驚くべきはそれが異界の人物を名指しして呼び寄せたものではなく
Even more surprising is that Maria did not summon him using the name of a person from another world.
マリアがゼロの海から生み出したもの
But
と
she
いう
created him out of the sea of zero. After that, Maria boasted to Beato that Sakutaro wasn't her only friend and that she had many more back at home. It seemed there were other similar stuffed animals and dolls who could talk and move of their own will like Sakutaro. It was something natural for Maria. It was natural for stuffed animals to talk, move, and become her friends of their own will. And when she saw that Maria accepted this as something natural as a witch, Beatrice felt a respect bordering on awe.
マリア、
Maria.
そなたのその力は紛れもなく魔法
Without a
であ
doubt.
る。
That power of yours is magic.
魔法なの？
Magic.
マリアはまだ魔女見習いだから魔法なんて使えないよ。
I'm still a witch apprentice. I can't use magic yet, right?
いいや、魔法だ。
No, it is magic.
それを自覚して使えぬから未だ見習いなのであろうが
Because you can't use it consciously, you're still an apprentice.
それにしても大した魔力。
But even so, what magical power
そ
is
な
it?
たの友人サク太郎の権限こそが
Materialization
その
of
立
your friend
派な
Sakutaro
証であるぞ。
is an excellent proof of that.
権限って？
Materialization?
うん。
Indeed.
そなたの場合は創造と呼んでも良いであろうな。
In your case, it may even be fitting to call it
他
creation.
人の手にあっては何の魂も持たぬ無機物
A
が
piece
そ
of
なたの
inorganic,
魔法によって魂を吹き込まれている。
a piece of inorganic matter that would have had no soul at all in another's hands can have a soul sent into it through your magic.
しかもそれを強力な力で人間界に留めている。
Furthermore, that strong magical power lies in the human world.
これほどまでに魔法を否定する毒気に満たされた現代において一個の生命体足り得るほどに権
I'd
限で
like
き
to
る魔
point out
力は
that this is all taking
わ
place
らわと
at
て
the
容易なことではないわ。
at the second mansion that, to our knowledge, Maria's never been to. In this era, so filled with toxins that denies magic, summoning a magical power that can materialize a single life form is not easy even for me. It isn't hard to give birth to any number of soulless beings. However, giving birth to a being with a soul is difficult. This is what Beato asserted.
ベアトが言うのがよくわかんない。
I don't really understand what you're saying, Beato.
サクタロがすごいってこと？
Saying Sakutaro is amazing?
サクタロウとソナタが共に素晴らしいということだ。
Are incredible.
誇ってよい。
You should be
なる
proud.
ほど。金蔵の最も欲したものはそなたに一番濃く宿っているらしい。
That which Kinzo desired above all else seems to dwell most strongly in you.
なんでベアトにそんなに褒められるのかさっぱり。
Beatrice lies to people all the time, my friend. She pretends to be your friend, then lies about it. She's nice to Maria because Maria believes in her and she can use Maria to serve her purposes, assuming she exists. Basically, Maria is like the most willing, accepting of her so she can have Maria interact with people on her behalf, assuming she exists. Like, Maria's the person who delivers her messages to people during the events of the family conference, informing them that things are happening and getting started. And I mean, she's not unwilling to kill Maria, right? If you saw the end of if you saw the second Twilight, I think it was, in the previous act, I believe she strangled Maria to death. So she's not opposed to killing her if she needs to kill her. Or she ostensibly strangled her to death, but in the case of the third chapter, we had like a ton of strong evidence that it was actually just Ava killing people for almost all the murders. Like we actually had a motive. We actually had a motive and opportunity for exactly one person in like almost every single murder. But as it was written, it was Beatrice killing Maria. I don't have a clue why Beato is praising Maria so much. Right, Sakutaro?
真に驚嘆すべきは、ぬいぐるみに魂を宿したことだけではないのだ。
What should truly be admired is not only that a soul has been made to reside in the stuffed animal.
それにより、自己の世界観まで変化させた。
Even more significant is the fact that you have changed your own worldview.
そなたは、無より有を生じる力が群を抜いている。
When it comes to giving birth to something from nothing, you stand out from the crowd.
1を100にすることはたやすい。
It's easy to make 100 from 1.
0から1を生じることはたやすくはない。
Giving birth to 1 from 0 is not.
そなたが一人前の魔女になったなら、わらわと双璧どころか、わらわとて一目置かざるを得ない大魔女に成長するであろう。
When you do become a full witch and beyond just becoming a match for me, you might grow into a great witch that even I must acknowledge as superior.
原初の魔女。
A witch of origins, perhaps? I'm really looking forward to your future.
わらわにとって
Witch of origins, the witch of copium, creating something from nothing.
ベアトに魔女の才能あるって褒められた。
Beato said I had talent as a witch.
よかったね、マリア。
Isn't that great, Mario?
ウリアン、ベアト、マリアを褒めてくれてありがとう。
Beato, thank you for praising Mario.
礼には及
Maybe
ば
it's
ぬ
the
ぞ、
witch of
サクタロ
copium? Or hopium? It's the witch of hopium? No, that's witch of hopium is Vern Castell, the one who always thinks she can find a solution. Just has to keep looking for it. No need to thank me.
その
Sakutaro.
赤いマフラーは実に似合っているぞ。
That red muffler truly
そ
suits.
して、そなたのような友人を生み出せる、そなたの主人の才能に嫉妬する。
I'm envious of the talent of your master who was able to give birth to a friend like you.
マフラー褒めてくれてありがとう。
Thanks for complimenting my
こ
mother.
れ、マリアにプレゼントしてもらったの。
It's a present I got from Mario.
僕のお気に入り。
It's my favorite.
まさにそなた専用のマフラーになるために生まれてきたようなサイズであるな。
And its size is truly like a muffler that was created just for you.
これは、わらわも新しき友人に
I see.
何かプレゼントを贈らねばなるまい。
I must also give my new friend some kind of present.
ベアトがサクタロにプレゼント？
Beato's giving Sakutaro a present?
魔女の贈り物は 魔力あるものと決まっておる。
Of course, a gift from a witch must be something with magical power.
ならばそなたの友人がいつまでもそなたの友人でいられるよう、
In
そ
that
して
case, so
そなたともっと楽しく遊べるように。
in that case, so he can be your friend for all time, and so that you can have even more fun playing with him.
サク太郎にわらわの魔力を送ろう。
I'll give Sakutaro my magical
それ
power.
によりさらに強く権限することができるだろう。
With that, he should be able to materialize even more strongly.
おお、サク太郎ともっともっと楽しく遊べるようになるの？
I'll be able to have much more fun playing with
どう
Sakutaro.
やって？
How's that?
おりゅ？なんだろう、マリア。
What could it be,
そ
Mario?
れって怖い
Something
こと？
scary?
大丈夫だよ。ベアとは怖いことなんて何もしないよ。
Beato won't do anything scary.
ね、ベアトリーチェ。
Uh-huh. Right, Beatrice?
うん、必ず気に入ってもらえるはずだ。
I believe you'll like it.
さて、より強く権限するにはより強いイメージが必
So
要
to
であ
make
る
him
な。
materialize even more strongly, a stronger image will be necessary.
さてさて。
What to do?
うーん。
Beato crossed her arms and thought about what she could do to please them even more. And then right there was the form of yet another witch. It was Beato's teacher, Virgilia. Virgilia truly was a great witch. Since Maria already thought of Beato as a great witch, this person Beato called a great witch must have been a great witch. And according to Beato, she still didn't rise up to this witch's feat when it came to magical power.
おやおや、
My, my.
賑やかな声が聞こえてくると思ったら
I thought I heard some cheery
楽し
voices.
そうなお茶会ですこと。
What a fun tea party it seems to be.
おお、お師匠様。
Oh,
ちょう
teacher.
どいいところへ
Perfect timing.
このライオンの子を見てほしい。
Look at this
マ
lion
リアの
club.
新しい友人だそうだ。
I hear he's Maria's new friend.
可愛らしいライオンさんですね。
What a lovely lion
ご挨
son.
拶はできるのかしら。
I wonder if he can
は
greet
じめ
me.
まして。こんにちは。
Hello, nice to meet you.
ウリュウ。サク太郎と申します。
Sakutaro. Sakutaro fell to Maria's lap, greeting Virgilia with half of his face poking out over the edge of the table. It seemed he was very nervous since it was a witch that even Beato called teacher.
可愛らしい名前だこ
What
と。
an adorable name.
上手な挨拶ができたご褒美にお菓子をあげましょうね。
As a reward for giving such a good greeting, here's a sweet for you. I wonder what's supposed to be happening in real life here. It's like a flashback, a flash forward. She's somehow in the wrong place. Like, it seems wholly fabricated almost. After waving her hands about, Virgilia held the palm of her hand upwards as though she was lightly grabbing the empty air. Then she held her fist out in front of Sakutaro. When she opened her fist, there was one of those individually wrapped cough drops.
飴だよ、マリア。すごいすごい。
Cough drop? It's a candy? Awesome. Isn't that great,
ちゃん
Sakutaro?
とお礼を言ってね。
Make sure to thank
ウ
her.
リュウ、飴をどうもありがとうございます。
Thank you very much for the
ペ
candy.
コリ。
Even though Virgilia was a great witch, she still treated stuffed animals like Sakutaro to an elegant greeting.
しかしお師匠様、のど飴とはまたババ臭い。
Seriously, teacher? Cough drops? Are you someone's granny or
せ
something?
めていちごミルクのキャンディーとか出ないのかよ。
Did you pull out some strawberry milk candy?
これはひどい。
How rude.
もうあなたには飴をあげませんよ。
In that case, I won't be giving you any more.
悪い悪い。さて
Sorry.
マ
Well
リ
then, Mario,
そなたの魔導書を出すのよ。
take out your
も
grimoire.
ちろん筆記用具もな。
And of course, your writing tools.
うん、出すよ。
I'll take it out.
何か書くの？
What do I write?
おや、何を始めるのですか？
Oh, what are you starting?
お師匠様に習った魔法を使うのだ。
I'll use the magic I learned from you, teacher.
よりしろに異界の住人を権限させる魔法。
Magic to make a resident of another world materialize into a vessel.
あれの応用でこのマリアの友人を権限させる力をより強めることができるのではないかと思っ
I
て
think
な。
by applying that, we may be able to further strengthen the power that makes this friend of Maria's
そ
materialize.
れをマリアとマリアの友人への贈り物としたい。
I wanted to give that as a gift to Maria and her friend.
なるほど。
I see.
すでに権限している存在ならそう難しいことではないでしょう。
For a being that's already materialized, it shouldn't be that
それ
difficult.
は素敵な贈り物になりそうですね。
It could become a wonderful
では
gift,
私もささやかですが
Love to.
協力しましょう。
if only a little.
お師匠様が立会人にサインしてくれる魔法なら心強い。
It'd be very reassuring if you would sign for this magic as a witness.
喜
Teacher.
べマリア。
Rejoice,
こ
Maria.
れは素晴らしい贈り物になる
This will
ぞ。
be a wonderful gift.
うりゅ何が始まる
What's
の？
happening?
怖くない？
Isn't
怖
scary,
く
is
な
it?
い？わかんない。
Oh
で
no.
も怖くないと思
I
う。
don't think it's scary.
なんだろうね。楽しみだね。
It'll be, I can't wait. Beato borrowed the grimoire from Maria's handbag and majestically flipped through the pages. Then she found an empty page among those with magic circles drawn on them and flattened it out. After gazing at Sakutaro with a grin, she suddenly started moving her pen. It was something like a written declaration made by witches to a higher order world. It was magic whose effect could be controlled if Beatrice wrote and Virgilia signed. Maria didn't understand what Beato was writing at first, but partway through she figured out the wonderful magical power of this document and her eyes began to sparkle.
うりゅどうしたのマリア？何を書いてるの？
What is it, Maria? What's he
う
drawing?
りゅ
Sakutaro was on her lap, so he didn't know what was being written on the table, but even if he had seen, Sakutaro probably wouldn't have understood.
すごいよサクタロ
Amazing,
ー。待っ
Sakutaro.
てて、もうすぐだよ。
Wait
も
a
うす
second,
ぐだ
almost
よ。
done. Almost
ベ
done.
アトすごい。ベアトすごい。
Amazing, Beato, amazing.
力ある書面の筆記においてこの子の才能は素晴らしい。
When it comes to writing documents of power, this child's talent is
あなた
magnificent.
になら魔界の書記官すら務まりそうですよ。
Might even serve well as secretary in the spirit world.
これでどうか。
How's
ま
this?
ずまずであろう。
Not bad, right? After finishing her writing with an intense amount of concentration, Beato looked over the document again from a distance. It seemed she was fairly satisfied with her work. And Mari, who was also peeking in at it, let out a cry of wonder.
すごいよ、ベアト。
Amazing, Beato. So cute.
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェの名においてマリアの子サクタロウをここに認める。
By the name of the Golden Witch Beatrice, I now acknowledge Sakutaro, Maria's child.
お師匠様、立会人にサインを頼むぜ。
Teacher, if you'd sign as a witness.
はいはい。我が名においてこの先生に立ち会い認めるものなり。
I witness and acknowledge this
で
act.
きましたよ。
It is done. Virgilia signed, completing the written declaration. It was a document with the power to proclaim to the beings of a higher world that Sakutaro had most certainly materialized in the human world. Sakutaro, who had been born from Maria, was nominated by the two witches Beatrice and Virgilia, and just now his existence had been acknowledged by the higher world. That in itself was the great magic of materialization. According to Beato, it was quite fortunate Virgilia was there. After all, depending on the number of and quality of witches that signed proclamations to the higher world power that resided in them would change drastically. Virgilia in particular had many friends in that higher plane, so her signature gave the proclamation a power with which Beatos couldn't compare.
この宣言書により汝サクタロウを自我ある一個人と認める。
By this proclamation, I accept you, Sakutaro, as an individual with his own ego.
そしてその存在をマリアージュ・ソルシエールの条約に従い
And I welcome you as
友
a friend
人
in
として
accord
迎える。
with the contract of mariage social.
今よりサクタロウは我ら共通の友人だ。
Sakutaro is now our common friend.
それにふさわしき姿を贈り物としてそな
And
たに
for that,
贈ろう。
I shall bestow upon you a fitting form as a
受
gift.
け取るがよい。
Accept it. With the grimoire still open to the page with the proclamation, she turned it around and handed it to Maria. Maria showed it to Sakutaro on her lap. When Sakutaro beheld the proclamation, he felt something hot and bright begin to dwell in his body made of cloth and cotton. Even as he looked around nervous at this sensation he'd never felt before, the power strengthened, and eventually a bright light swallowed him up. Sakutaro's ascending.
うりゅ
Go into a second ascension.
うりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅ
That's right, Sakutaro's a Shota now. Alright, when that light disappeared, there, Maria's friend Sakutaro held a new form and existed. You're so cute, Sakutaro! Really cute.
ウリュウ
Hey,
ウリュウ本当に似合ってる
does it really look good on me?
恥ずかしくない
It isn't embarrassing?
とても可愛らしい姿ですよ。
It's a very lovely
さくたろ
form, Sakutaro-san. John? My
マ
bad.
フラーがチャームポイントだと思ってな。
I figured the muffler was his charm point.
あとは耳だ。
And the ears!
獣耳はいいぞ。実に可愛い。
Yeah, kimono Mimi really are nice. It's really cute. I'd like to point, she said kimono Mimi and not, well, actually, is that just animal ears? I don't think it was. The Mimi would work. I don't know if kimono is animal though. Oh well.
後でわらわにもかじらせ
Let me
よ。
nibble them later. Kimono Mimi? No, I haven't. Come back around. Kimono Mimi don't have rights. Thank you, Beatrice.
素敵なプレゼント本当にありがと
Thank you very much for the wonderful present. But Mimi is like ears, right?
礼には及ばぬ。
Like Kemomo? Oh, is actually beast. Interesting. Kimono is in fact is beast. Specifically. Alright. Thank you, Google. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not the normal word for like animal. I'm pretty sure that's not like the normal word for animal, so I was like, what would it be? But alright. No need for thanks.
そなたの素晴らしき魔法と友人に敬意を表したまでよ。
This is out of respect for your wonderful magic and your friend.
そしてこの域にまで達したそなたはもはや見習いをいつ卒業してもおかしくない。
And now that you've reached this level, it wouldn't be odd for you to graduate from being an apprentice at any
今日よ
time.
りさらに新しく楽しい魔法を伝授してやろう。
From now on, I shall instruct you on an even more fun, new magic.
これより原初の魔女見習いのマリアと名乗るがよい。
From now on, you may call yourself Maria, an apprentice witch of origins.
原初の魔女って
Witch of origins?
うん。
Indeed.
造物種の道を求める魔女の称号よ。
The title of a witch who seeks to become a
今は
creator.
身の回りの小物に魔力を吹き込む力しか
Creation magic's
持た
pretty
な
good.
いエンチャンターでしかない。
Right now, you're just an enchanter, a magician specializing in forms of magical enhancement. Wait, they actually had to have that in brackets? I'm pretty sure that's... They have that in Japanese now, I'm curious.
うん。造物種の道を求める魔女の称号よ。
Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Fucked if I know.
うん。造物種の道を求める今は身の回りの小物に魔力を吹き込む力しか持たぬエンチャンターでしかない。
Alright. Sounds like they had a... Anyway, right now you're just an enchanter who has only enough strength to breathe magical power into small objects around her.
しかし、1000年の修行を経たならば、その胸の内より魔法体系はおろか、
But after
銀河を
1,000
生み
years
出
of
すことも
training,
夢ではあるまい。
you could conceivably use the magical compendium that resides in your heart to create a galaxy. An entire galaxy, damn alright.
原初の魔女の才能はとても希少。
Talent of a witch of origin is quite
幼
rare,
き日には誰もが持つのに誰も持ち続けることができ
even
な
though
い。
everyone has it when they're young, none can continue holding
こ
on
の
to it.
称号はあなたが汚れなき心を
The
失
title
わ
is
なか
proof
ったこと
you
の
have not
証
lost
で
your
もあります
untainted
ね。
heart. Happy Maria is good Maria.
原初の魔女すごい
A witch of origins, awesome! I'll become one.
マリア原初の魔女見習い
Oh, Maria, an apprentice witch of origins.
マリア、すごいね、すごいね。
Maria, that's so incredible.
原初の魔女、すごいすごい。うりゅう。
Witch of origins, incredible, amazing.
やがては一人前の原初の魔女マリア教を名乗ることになる。
Eventually, you'll be able to call yourself a full witch, Lady Maria, Witch of
サクタロ
origins.
ウだけでなく、そろそろそなたもその格にふさわしい身なりをしても良い頃であろうな。
It may be a good time to now to give not only Sakutaro, but you as well an appearance fitting for your rank.
それ、
Here.
見習いとはいえ、魔女の名を語るにふさわしき服装を与えよう。
Here, I shall give a proper outfit for one who, while still an apprentice, is worthy of using the title of a witch. Alright, Maria, appearance upgrade, let's go. When Beato waved the pipe that was her cane, many gold butterflies appeared out of nowhere, grouped around Maria, giving her a wonderful dress. Maria's dress actually is nice, too. I'm not a big fan of the excessive pink lace, but the rest is good. It certainly was fitting for the girl who would eventually take the name of Witch of Origins, combining both cuteness and dignity. Cuteness and dignity, you hear that?
すごい。すごいすごいすごいすごい。
They're so creative. Their witch names are just their names with caps lock. It's true, it's true. Amazing, amazing, awesome, 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 awesome.
かわいい、かわいい。このお洋服、ママにも見せたい。
I want to show these clothes to Mama too.
ダメ？
Can I?
魔女の清掃はみだりに見せてはならぬぞ。
The full dress of a witch must not be shown
もっ
indiscriminately.
たいぶった方が価値が出るとい
Its
う。
value increases if you're stingy with it. Then the Great Witch, the witch's apprentice, and their new friend Sakutaro enjoyed a lively tea party, should say.
ね。
See?
私はこんなにも幸せだ
Look
よ。
how happy I am.
そしてこんなにも楽しい。
And look how fun this is.
幸せになることをどうか恐れないで。
Don't be afraid of being happy.
幸せになるというのは今の不幸を受け入れるという意味じゃないの。
Becoming happy isn't the same thing as accepting your current
今の
misfortune.
不幸の中に幸せを新しく生み出すということなの。
It means creating a new happiness out of your current
そ
misfortune.
れが原初の魔法。
That's the magic of origins.
私は今の自分の世界を認めたくなかった。
I didn't want to acknowledge my current
こん
world.
なにも孤独で辛い世界を肯定するのが許せなかっ
I
た。
couldn't bear to accept such an isolated and painful world. You know, I'm actually starting to like Maria's outfit the more I see it. I'm like, my first thought was like, man, I hate this lace. And then I keep looking at it. I'm like, would it look better with less lace? And I'm like, I'm not sure if it would look better if they axed the lace around the red. Like, it might actually just be okay. I'm starting to like it more. All right.
だからマリアお姉ちゃんの世界に惹かれながらも
That's why even though I was entranced by your world, Maria
最
One-chan,
後の一戦で
I couldn't
受
cross
け
the
入れられ
final
なか
line.
った。
教えてあげる。
I'll teach you. Actually, I want to see. Do we have any descriptions for people right now? We have the witches and Maria. You know what? I'll... What about everyone else? What does everyone else look like? Ava's dead. Oh, we have... Okay. Let's read these, because I think I've missed some of these. Sumidera Kasumi, daughter of the declining noble family Sumidera, Shirama Kiria's younger sister. She despises her sisters, and by extension, Ange as well. She's the opposite of the freewheeling person Kiria once was, and holds appearance in high regard, possessing a strong ambition for philanthropy. Come again? She despises her sisters, and by extension, Ange. She possesses a strong ambition for philanthropy. Oh, but it's all a craving for the limelight caused by the conflict she has towards her sisters. So she just wants to be known as philanthropic. She isn't actually a philanthropist. Alright. There's several opposing factions in Sumidera family, and they're constantly engaged in secret feuds over who will control the wealth Ange holds. Then there's Ange. Even after throwing herself from the top of a skyscraper, she miraculously survived unharmed. And after that mystical experience, she threw away everything and went on a journey by herself to learn her past. Can she break through the magic from her position 12 years in the future? Yeah, there's Juza. I want to read that as Yuza, but I know that's not right. As a former guard of Ava's, he's fundamentally a thrill seeker, taking on dangerous jobs for a little pay. At one point, he did work as a guard for Ange, but after repeatedly violating Ava's strict orders not to speak to her, Ava grew to dislike him and fired him. Ange seemed to not mind having him around, as he often chats with her. This man has traveled between the JSDF, the Foreign Legion, and other non-government military companies. He has skill in counter-sniping and protecting VIPs. There's Okanogi, who somehow came back. A leading member of the Yashiromiya group between the time of Ava's death and Ange succeeding her positions. Management of the group has fallen to core members like him in her stead. Ange has no desire to inherit the role, leaving the group on the brink of fracturing internally and putting Okanogi in a difficult position. He was once the president of a foodstuffs distribution company, and had an intimate relationship with Hideyoshi's business. Because of that long-lasting association, Ava trusted him, and he was appointed to an important post in the group. And then Ava's just fucking dead. Who cares? I think we already read Ava's stuff. Oh, then there's these people who just have their normal dialogue. Sakutaro, the beloved furniture of Lady Maria, a witch of mariage sorcière. He is Lady Maria's white heart itself. You might say he's a second Lady Maria and irreplaceable to her. He holds a decoration as a diplomat, and none may attack him. Not any of the witches, weapons, and furniture in the Alliance, nor any demons and divine spirits in a contract with the Alliance. And that guy's got actual diplomatic immunity. And there's... oh, Goldsmith. Goldsmith is Kinzo's sorcerer name. Kinzo, the only person who has a different name when he's a wizard. His skill as a summoner is legendary for the current era. His summoning ability surpasses Beatrice's at times. However, he's very mismatched, excelling in some areas while fatally lacking as a sorcerer in others. Magic with enough power to reheat a cup of black tea may be beyond him, but he's capable of summoning demons with magic strong enough to boil the sea. The source of magic. His magic is found in arithmetic miracles, and his magical compendium is unique. Later on, even Beatrice took note of this and rearranged her compendium accordingly. Berncastel, the Witch of Miracles, who lived 1,000 years. To defeat Beatrice, she threw in a piece called Ange. The Voyager witches who can cross the Sea of Fragments are beings far superior to the witches who cannot leave their own territories. While they may be on even footing inside this territory, her true magical power far surpasses that of Beatrice. What is sought by the witches who repeatedly voyage in an attempt to escape boredom? Who knows? Ange, the Endless Witch who will live 1,000 years in the future, or perhaps a hunter of witches who will fell them all. Witches cannot be felled if they are not understood, but they cannot be felled even if they are understood. To understand witches and yet deny them, only this contradictory power gives her the blade with which to fell witches. Maria, the Witch of Origins who will live for 1,000 years in the future. She holds the motherly magical power to give birth to a one from a sea of zeros. At a glance, the magical power is frail, but no matter how many times you multiply 0, you never end up with anything more than 0. However, the one she gave birth to will one day surpass the heavens. He is loyally protected by Beatrice, who understands her true worth until she kills her. Anyway, the two of them are members of the same alliance. Beatrice, the 1,000-year witch, endless witch, known for being exceptionally cruel among witches, bullies the weak, uses trial and error to endlessly find the cruelest fate that can possibly be given, and she toys with her victims even further by piling on one after another. This witch is extremely powerful, but word has it she became obsessed with creating patterns, so her means end up becoming her goals. And lastly, Lambda Delta, the Witch of Certainty, who's lived 1,000 years. She thinks of Beatrice's game in the as a birdcage enclosing Berncastel, and her goal is an eternal tie. She'll ally with Beatrice as a general rule, but she'll support Battler when it looks like he's going to resign. When it looks like Beatrice is about to be cornered, she'll start supporting the witch again. The power of certainty is far stronger than the endless, which just repeats over and over idly. Interesting. So Lambda Delta is clearly going to actively support Battler at some point.
Mariaの原初の魔法を
About my magic of origin.
いいえ、教えたことがあったは
I taught you
ず。
before, right?
そしてあなたにも
And you
使
used
え
it
たは
before?
忘れちゃった。
Did you forget?
エンジェだってマリアージュ・ソルシエールに名を連ねる魔女の見習いだったでしょ。
You were also a witch apprentice, Ange, with your name entered into the mariage sorcière, weren't you?
ええ、そうだったわね。
It's
マリ
true.
アージュ・ソルシエール。
Mariage sorcière.
懐かしいわね。
Takes me back.
私もそこに名を連ねていることがあっ
I
た。
also had my name entered there at one point, didn't I? You did. Welcome back, NJ. Is she gonna go with NJ in all caps? Are we transitioning back to something else? Let's see. The world 12 years later, October 98. Okay. Ah, I think I see where we are. Alright.
ええ、あれは忘れもしない。
Yes, I will never forget that.
1987年4月のことです。
It happened in the April. Wait, aren't we in 80? Aren't we in? Oh, we're in 98, right? It happened in the April of
私
1987.
は友人からある奇妙な依頼を受けました。
Received a certain strange request from a friend.
とある大富豪の遺品である蔵書が大量に競売にかけられていて、
There was a large collection of books, the former possessions of a very rich man, being sold at
その
auction.
一部に民族学的にも考古学的にも、あるいはオカルト的な意味でも極めて価値の高いものが含まれていると思われる。
It was thought some of them might have been extremely valuable to the study of archaeology and folklore, as well as in an occult
その
sense.
価値を内密に見てほしいというのです。
So this friend wanted to witness their worth confidentially.
87年、
That was 87.
六軒島での事件の半年後。
Half a year after the crime on
さよう
Rocky
です。
Correct.
それらの蔵書は六軒島での難を逃れたものと説明されてい
It
ま
was
した。
explained the books escaped the disaster at
それを
Rockinjima.
島の所有者である後宮エバ氏が競売に出したとい
The
う
owner
の
of the
です。
island, Ushiromiya Eva, put them up for auction. This was apparently a high-class restaurant. A middle-aged man was sitting across from NJ in a secluded and quiet seat. Amakusa could be seen by the entrance. He was probably keeping a lookout for pursuers from the Sumadera family. The scholarly man across from NJ spoke politely but with enthusiasm. He didn't lay a finger on the food in front of him, so you could tell how excited he was as he spoke fervently. He was a professor at a certain college, a particularly well-known authority on Western folklore. However, among his life's work, that was only a convenient exterior. His true life's work was the study of the occult, Western magic, alchemy, everything else to do with the occult. What happened on Rokkenshima that the books escaped? Listen, it's just a little it's just a small fire, okay? A small fire that burned down the entire mansion, so none of the bodies and their injuries could be identified, okay? Nice and easy. Easy, burn all the bodies to a crisp. And be like, well, I was in the other mansion, that's why I didn't burn alive. All the doors were mysteriously locked and everyone died of the smoke inhalation. Yeah, that's it. And no one noticed, all the fire alarms were disabled. Yeah, As well as demonology. Oh, he's got demonology under it. In short, he was the person in the best position to understand the details of Kinzo's research.
まず蔵書を鑑定して分かったことは、後宮エバ氏には民族学的な教養は全くなく、
First, what I learned by appraising those books was that Ushiromiya Eva had absolutely no education in the study of folklore.
そしてその蔵書の本来の持ち主である後宮金蔵氏は、日本で五子に入る悪魔学の権威であったことは間違いないということです。
I have no clue if it was a fire in two buildings or if it was even a fire at all. I'm just making shit up. That's the original owner of the books, Ushiromiya Kinzo, was certainly one of the top 5 authorities on demonology in Japan. April 1987, a major city antique shop obtained a large quantity of ancient documents thought to have a high historical value. They were entrusted with them by Ushiromiya Eva, who wanted them to be sold at auction. At the time, it was thought Eva would succeed the Ushiromiya family and have all the wealth to herself as the only survivor. However, at that point, not even half a year had passed since the accident, and others had not been missing long enough to be presumed dead, even under extraordinary circumstances. Because of that, Eva supposedly had been in a very tight spot financially, unable to even collect on her family's life insurance. seems she tried to sell everything of value, and even the books kept in the place where she'd escaped harm in Kuadorian were used for this purpose. These old books, which should eventually be called the Ashiramiya Library, were later gathered from antique shops by authorities in the field so they could be appraised, and those authorities were astounded.
少なくとも神秘学の見地から言えば、
At least speaking from the perspective of
その発見が世界に与えた衝撃は、司会文書発見にも匹敵するものでした。
The impact of that discovery on the world was comparable to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Well, that's impressive.
後宮蔵書には、なんと1000年以上にもわたる間、その存在だけが知られているにもかかわらず、
contained within the Ashiramiya Library were many extremely vital documents that had never been found.
発見されていなかった数々の極めて重要な文献さえ含まれていたからです。
Although their existence had been known for more than a millennium, the many dreams of the occult, such as those represented by alchemy, were always stirred an intense fascination in dilettantes. It is whispered that many magic books of great historical value, currently unknown to the public, might be in the secret possession of extremely wealthy lovers of the occult. Items such as Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks, which are particularly popular among dilettantes, are said to be prime examples of this. It's said approximately 5,000 pages of these notebooks currently exist, and that over 10,000 have been lost, but some researchers believe a large part of this lost fortune may be monopolized by certain enthusiasts and members of the extremely rich. It's said because of this, even now, dilettantes who can't help but seek these spare no expense to search around for quietly hoarded away in unannounced notebooks. There's probably no doubting Ashiramiya Kinzo was himself one of those dilettantes. No one knows what Kinzo went through to obtain these, but there can be no mistake he used his vast wealth freely, buying them off other rich people with the same hobby as him. These books, so valuable that enthusiasts would never satisfy their desire to hold them away, were discovered in large numbers at the end of the 20th century, and their release to the public had given the entire world a massive shock.
この一件により、六軒島の名は全世界に知れ渡ることになります。
Because of this case, the name Rockenjima became known across the world.
そして同時に、六軒島の事故によって、未発見のさらに価値ある蔵書が大量に失われた可能性が高いことも、全世界に衝撃を与えました。
Because of this case, the name Rockenjima became known across the world. The world is also shocked to learn that in all likelihood, a large number of even more valuable undiscovered books were lost during the accident on Rockenjima. How on earth would there be an accident in the main building? That doesn't make sense. That's so strange.
これにより、六軒島と後宮蔵書の名は、我々にとって生涯忘れないものとなったのです。
Because of this, the names of Rockenjima and the Ashiramiya Library will remain in our memories for all time. Our memories. That hour probably met the occult neck of the world with the same hobby as Kinzo. Because of that incident, the name Rockenjima had taken on a vital meaning in the world of occult. There certainly had been a lot of reporting about the accident on the island, but not on an international level. However, this one part had spread across the world, taking the image of Rockenjima as a small island in the Izu archipelago, and painting it over as a demonic island where riddles, suspicion, mystery, and the occult met. I would like to note that that did not look like Rockenjima, as there were like 10 buildings on that island. In other words, until Kinzo's library was leaked to the public by Eva, Rockenjima had been merely a nameless island no one could remember. Certainly not the island of a witch. A gold bar in exchange for the books. If you say yes or no, regardless, he just beats you over the head with a gold bar and takes the books. Yeah, seems good. I mean, the easiest way to succeed with arithmetic magic is just to reduce your chance of failure to 0. So Rockenjima's image immediately took on an occult twist when knowledge of the library spread across the planet.
そして、そこへ起こるのが例のメッセージボトル事件です。
What happened next was the discovery of the message bottle.
これがあの島を魔女の島に変えた。
And that's what turned the island into a witch's
伊豆諸島の無名の小島がオカルトの島へ、そして謎の魔女ベアトリーチェの島へと変遷していったのです。
The nameless island in the Izu archipelago began the transition into an island of the occult, the island of the mysterious witch Beatrice.
後宮蔵書とメッセージボトル、このどちらが欠けても 六軒島魔女伝説は
You
成り
might
立たなか
say
った
that
と言えます。
lacking either the Ashiramiya library or the message bottle, the Rokkenshima Wish legend never would have been established.
メッセージボトル。
Message bottle.
はい。
Yes.
空の瓶に手紙を封印し海に投じるという不特定対象への通信方法です。
A form of communication to an unspecified target by throwing an empty bottle with a letter sealed inside it into the sea.
無人島から SOS を発信するというのが有名ですが、海外の有名推理小説の影響で、
It was once famous as a way of sending an SOS from a deserted island, but because of the influence of a certain prominent foreign
自
detective
らの
novel,
死後に真実を告白するという時間差的な遺書としても知られるように
it's
なり
also
ました。
become known as a method of confessing the truth after one's death, like a time-delayed
六
will.
軒島メッセージボトル事件はまさにこの後者だったのです。
The case of the Rokkenshima message bottle was certainly one of the latter.
近くの島の漁師が拾っていたというやつですね。
This is the thing everyone says a fisherman on the nearby island picked up?
さようです。式根島の若い漁師が手紙入りのワインボトルを拾っていたことが分かったのです。
We learned a young fisherman on Shikenejima picked up a wine bottle with a letter
こ
in
の
it.
若い漁師は興味本位からそれをたまたま保管していました。
The young fisherman kept it out of
それ
curiosity.
が後ろ宮蔵書で六軒島が世界的注目を浴びたため公表したというので
And
す。
then, because Rokkenshima fell under the world's attention due to the Ashiramiya library, he announced his
その
discovery.
漁師による捏造の可能性は？
Is there a chance this is a fabrication made by the fisherman?
もちろんその可能性も否定できませんでした。
Of course, we can't deny the
ワ
possibility.
インボトル内のノート片には後宮家のとある人物の署名がされていまし
Scraps
た。
of paper in the wine bottle were signed by a certain member of the Ashiramiya family,
後宮マリアという少女で
a
す。
girl named Ashiramiya Maria.
しかし彼女の遺品の肉筆から別人の筆跡であることが確認されました。
However, after looking at the writing left on her former belongings, it was confirmed this message was written in a different person's handwriting. That's
別人の
disappointing.
筆跡？
A different person's
さ
handwriting.
ようです。
Correct.
少なくとも少女より達筆で年齢のある人物によって書かれたことは疑いようがないでしょう。
At the very least, I believe there can be no doubt this was written by a person more skilled at writing and of a greater age
彼
than
女の
her.
名を語った何者かが執筆した可能性が極めて高かったのです。
There's a high likelihood that someone faked her name when they
よ
wrote
っ
it.
てこの時点ではノート片の内容の信憑性は薄いと考えられました。
Therefore, at that point in time, the contents of those scraps of paper were thought to have a very low credibility. However, later on it was confirmed a similar message bottle had been recovered from the nearby ocean on the day of the accident by the police in their search for lost articles, and this caused a sensation.
警察は現場の状況とボトルの封印状況から捏造の可能性は低く、
It seems due to evidence from the surrounding area and the fact that the bottle had been
事
sealed.
故直前の数日以内に投棄したものと判断したようです。
The police decided its likelihood of being a fabrication was low and that it had been abandoned no earlier than a few days before the
また双
accident.
方の筆跡は一致しました。
And the handwriting for both
これ
matched.
により漁師の発見したノート片の信憑性が増すこととなりました。
This caused the credibility of... Hold up. A few days before the accident. What? Maria wasn't even in the area a few days before the accident. Or does he say no earlier then, meaning it could have happened between, you know, the accident and, like a day or two before it? I think that's what it means, my bad. Alright. Handwriting for both matched, causing the credibility of the scraps of paper discovered by the fisherman to rise.
メッセージボトルの内容については週刊誌などが繰り返し報道しているようですが、説明がいりますかな？
Seems magazines and the like have reported on the contents of the bottle repeatedly. Would you like an explanation?
いいえ、
No.
一応知っていますので。
I know about it more or less. Many scraps of paper were stuffed into both wine bottles. It was an extensive notebook written by someone calling themselves Ushiramiya Maria, but it wasn't Maria, and it told of the events starting that day before the accident and up until the day of the accident in a diary-like way. Its contents were the beginning of the witch's legend's serial murder incident, as well as the Golden Witch Beatrice's puzzle.
この奇妙な日記風式には台風で島に釘付けにされた後宮家の親族たちが
This bizarre diary-style notebook described how the Ishiramiya family members nailed down on the island by the typhoon
魔女復活の儀式に巻き込まれ 次々に不可解な方法で殺されていく様子が記されていました。
Described how they were caught up in a ceremony for the resurrection of a witch and killed one by one in inexplicable ways.
そして最後に黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェが蘇り、すべてを黄金鏡に飲み込む。
We did hear in the credits of one that account of the events were found in a message bottle. We did hear that. We did read that. The accounts were found in a message bottle saying to solve the riddle, right? Or solve our deaths or something. I don't remember that one. I remember that vaguely. That was in the post-credits scene in like the scrolling text. You can go check in chapter 1. So this isn't entirely new information, but it's something you didn't think you'd ever see expounded on, which is interesting. Or expanded on. Alright. So in the end, Beatrice revived and everything was flung into the golden.
まるでそれこそが当日の全容であるかのように記されていました。
It was written almost as though it was a complete account of the events of those days.
また当時の島の状況についても非常に詳しく描写されており、
It depicted the current situation on the island at the time in great detail.
後宮家に勤務したことがある元の使用人たちは間違いなく内部に詳しい人間が書いたに違いないと証言しました。
Okay, is he gonna finish that sentence? Okay, and the former servants used to work for the Yoshirimiya family give testimony that it had definitely been written by a human who knew the inside details of the island.
そのおかしな幻想小説と後宮蔵書以降のオカルトブーム。
So, a combination of the occult boom from that strange fantasy novel in the Yoshirimiya
そし
library,
て結局は真相は闇の中という3つが合わさり、
as well as the fact that
六
truth
軒島
remained
の魔女
shrouded in
伝説を生
darkness,
み出したと。
legend of the Rockenjima witch was born.
さようです。
Correct.
すでに10年以上が経過した事件ですが、未だに世界のオカルトマニアの関心を集めています。
More than 10 years have passed since the case, and it's still the focus of interest for occult enthusiasts across the world.
いや、むしろ時間を得て、ますますに神格化
To
さ
the
れたと
contrary,
言っていい。
you could say it's become increasingly deified as
上陸
that
禁止になっている六軒島に密かに上陸しようというマニアも未だに多いとか。
There are still many enthusiasts who try to secretly land on Rockenjima even though it's prohibited.
未だ未発見のメッセージボトルがあるのではない
Could
か。
be another message bottle that's not been discovered.
そしてあの日、あの島で本当は何があったのか。
On that day, what really happened?
未だに議論は
There's so
つき
much
ま
to be
せん
discussed.
とも。
As though he'd finally remembered that he'd been going on and on for some time, he took a gulp of water. His pottage was getting cold, but it seemed the man's hunger had already been blown away.
確か漁師のノート編と警察のノート編で内容が全く違うと聞きましたが。
I'm pretty sure I heard the fisherman's scrap of paper and the police's scraps of paper had completely different contents.
さようです。
Correct.
このせいで六軒島ミステリーはさらに面白みが増したのです。
Due to that, the interest in the Rockenjima mystery increased
2 つ
further.
のボトルの中身はどちらも事故前日から当日までを記した日記風の式です。
Inside both bottles were diary-style notebooks on which was written an account from the day before the accident until the day of the accident.
しかしその内容は共に前日から当日を記した内容であり、
However,
にもかかわらず内容は全く異なったの
though
です。
both of their contents described the same 2-day period, they were completely
ま
different.
るでどちらかが真実で、
As
ど
though
ちらかが虚偽のよう。
one was truth and one was
あるい
lie.
は両方とも虚偽なのかもしれな
Both were
い。
lies.
しかし始まりと終わりだけは一致するのです。
In any event, the beginnings and endings alone matched each other.
始まりは親族たち18人は台風で島に閉じ込められた。
In the beginning, the 18 people, including relatives, are sealed on the island by the
そ
time.
して終わりは
And in the ending,
全員が死に
everyone
黄
dies.
金の魔女が蘇り、すべては黄金鏡に飲み込まれる。
The Golden Witch has arrived and everything is flung into the Golden Land. The contents of both messages wrote about the events of the day before the accident and the day of the accident, but the details were completely different. Both diaries outline a serial murder following the epitaph of the witch, but the order of the sacrifices, the ways they died, and the tale of 2 days were completely different. However, in both, everyone died in the end and the witch revived, marking the same general plot.
あの島で何があったのか。唯一の生存者である後宮エヴァ氏が沈黙していた以上、
Because the only survivor, Miss Ushirimiya Eva, has remained silent about what actually
あ
happened
の
on the
2
island.
日間の出来事は全てが闇の中です。
The events of the entire 2-day period are shrouded in darkness.
この2つの日記はその闇を埋める
These
仮
two
説を
diaries
こともあろうか、2つも提示してみせたのです。
Presented a full 2 theories to wipe away that darkness.
どちらの日記でも2日間を説明できる。
These 2 dies could be explained with either of these 2 diaries.
どちらが正しいのか、あるいは正しいことが含まれているのかさえわからないのです。
However, we don't know which is correct, or even if there's anything correct contained inside them. Schrodinger's cat box. If it isn't denied, even a mixture of truth and fiction could be truth. Through the media, these scraps of paper had of course been shown to Ava as well, but in the end she never broke her silence.
誰が何のためにメッセージ
Who
ボト
sent
ル
the bottles and why?
事件10周年特集を組んだ雑誌が以前大々的に取り上げたでしょう。
Earlier, in their special issue for the crime's 10th anniversary, a certain magazine took that topic up for discussion in a grand manner, didn't they?
あの仮説が今日では最も支持を集めているようで
That
す。
theory seems to be the one garnering the most support lately.
しかし、面白みには欠け
But
る。
it's rather dull.
あの島であの日、何
What
が起
happened
こ
on
った
that
の
day?
か、それを考えるのが、ウィッチハントの醍醐味なのですな。
Considering this question is the true charm of the witch hunt.
ウィッチハント
The witch hunt?
ああ、ロッキン島ウィッチハントとは、この事件の真相をオカルトの側面から説明しようと試みるマニアの集いのことです。
The Rockinjima witch hunt is the name of a group of enthusiasts who try to explain the truth of that crime from an occult perspective.
後宮蔵書から謎の2日間。そして、黄金の魔女の伝説など、ロッケン島に関わる謎は今でもマニアの間で盛んに議論されているのです。
Okay. Discussion of the mysteries that surround Rockinjima, from the Yoshiromiya library to the mysterious 2-day period to the legend of the Golden Witch, is flourishing even today amongst enthusiasts. Witch Hunt's a shout-out. It's the name of the fan translation group. Really? Okay.
10周年の時には、ニューヨークで国際コンベンションも開かれました。
For the 10-year anniversary, an international convention was held in New York. New York, okay.
私も日本の代表として参加してきましてね。
I participated as a representative of Japan.
海外の熱心なウィッチハンターと様々な交流をしてきましたよ。
I was able to intermingle with zealous overseas witch hunters in many ways.
海外では魔女はとても人気のあるカテゴリーでし
Witches
た
are a
ね。
very popular category overseas.
参加者の年齢幅も、下は小学生から、上は著名な文化人まで実に幅広い。
The age span of the participants stretched from elementary schoolers at the bottom all the way to famous cultural figures at the
日
top.
本でも近年ようやく。
Even in Japan in recent years, there was finally... You probably don't need any more explanation, but he's one of the most famous Rockinjima witch hunters in Japan. Even though I didn't ask anything more, he kept going on excitedly by himself. As I swirled the thin film on my pottage with my spoon, I shrugged my shoulders and sighed. Looks like researching the message bottle really was a waste of time. But if there's one thing I've found, it's that the notebook was supposedly written by Maria One-chan, was actually written by a different person faking her name, and that the person wrote up an occult legend on their own, put it into the bottle as though it was the truth, and threw it into the sea. I have a question. Why would they go through all the trouble of writing so much in order to create a suspicious letter like that? With the message bottle, there's no guarantee it ever passed into anyone's hands. If their luck had been bad, it could have sunk in the ocean, never to be seen by anyone. And even if someone picked it up, they might not have cared about it and thrown it away. Why would they entrust their confession of the truth to the sea with such an uncertain method? Why would they write up multiple differing tales? If there'd been one message bottle claiming that its story was the truth might be reckless but not impossible. However, because there's two, it made both of them doubtful. If someone was plotting to make out these 2 days to be the work of a witch, they really did go one step too far. And because there were two, it suggests an undiscovered third one, or possibly even more, might exist. In other words, the two differing contents make both of them harder and harder to swallow. But despite that, the contents of both matched in that they told of a witch in a tale, so the main plot point the writers wanted to get across to us, it seems to be the only possible explanation, is that someone wanted to give rise to the illusion of a witch carrying out the crime for their own enjoyment. However, the 17 people other than Ava lost their lives, and in a vast wealth, or maybe even 10 tons of gold, had moved around secretly in the darkness. It doesn't feel right for a confession occurring after all that to bring up this illusion of the witch. Even if we ignore the magazine theories, it's doubtful the message bottle really was a diary. After all, the amount of writing was massive. It's hard to imagine someone actually caught up in the middle of a serial murder like that would be able to calmly write it down. In that case, it's probably more realistic to say the diary was written slowly over a long period of time until up into the day prior to the accident. In that case, would that mean everything on Rokkenjima was a planned crime with everything prepared over a long stretch of time? The fact Aunt Eva left this world without saying anything is infuriating. She definitely said it on her deathbed. She definitely said the reason for not telling me was because it's her best way of harassing me. And by now, it's painfully obvious. Of all the things Eva did to harass me, this is probably the last and greatest. But thinking of it that way, it's doubtful Aunt Eva is the culprit. Of course, it's not because the handwriting on the message bottle was different from Eva's or anything like that. It's because in both tales that were discovered, Aunt Eva was included among the victims. If the writer of the diary was the culprit, maybe Aunt Eva was also one of the targets to be killed, and maybe Eva survived because something went wrong. Because I hated Aunt Eva, I came to believe she had to be the culprit, but the existence of the bottle makes me suspect that the mastermind is a far more profound and unknown person than her. That's quite the mystery, isn't it? And I think we're gonna have to wrap things up here. Just like I think Ange is gonna wrap up her conversation with this occult fanatic in about 1 second.